Wow, my timing was perfect.
Yeah, great.
How you doing?
Good.
Buenas noches, Mateo.
What? We speak English here, or Hebrew. Sorry.
Oh, that was Spanish.
Buenas noches.
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right? I might have a little bit of a lag because I'm a little further from the router moment, but
How dare you?
hopefully it's not too bad.
It's not bad. How you doing?
How am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm good. I was going through pictures a little bit earlier. I used to be gothic in high school, so I was trying to find some photos of that. And then you just get that nostalgia where you see pictures of when you're a kid with your family. I'm like, oh man, these are kind of making me sad. But yeah, but other than that, I'm good. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Keeping busy. A little bit too busy. But it's all good.
That's good. That's good.
So I didn't know if you were gonna be here. But
Oh yeah.
I found so this is a discourse of the Rebbe I haven't seen in almost 20 years because it was the Rebbe talking about something nobody wanted to talk about, and for the past 30 years since his passing, nobody's wanted to talk about. And since I was able to finally find it, partially because of the stupidity going on right now regarding the Jew tunnels.
What is it?
You heard about the Jew tunnels? You haven't heard about the Jew tunnels?
Oh, okay, yeah, the Jew tunnels. Yeah. Okay, that's still going on.
Nah, well, I mean, the dispute that caused it has been going on for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's still going on. And on Friday, the New York like appellate courts. So there's been a court case going on for 20 years. And it just keeps on going on, and it's dumb. But it is what it is. And so I in the comment section of one of the articles talking about that court case decision coming down on Friday, somebody linked this, and it was like, yeah, this discourse of the Rebbe nobody wants to talk about. Fringe communities do fringe activities. Hey, Kirk.
How's it going, Jacob?
Good.
What's up, Kirk?
Everything's good in my life. Oh, I tried Chipotle for the first time today.
Chipotle?
Yeah.
Chipotle's not kosher.
Yeah, but I'm not a Jew, so.
Yeah, that's true. Fringe communities do fringe activities, but honestly, this wasn't even so fringe.
I am Jewish, but I'm not a Jew.
Oh, does it work like that? That's nice.
He doesn't have to keep kosher because he's not Jewish.
Wait, you can...
I'm Jewish by faith, but not by halakhic status.
He is Jewish by faith, but he is not a member of Israel. So he's I believe you consider yourself a Noahide, correct?
Yeah.
So he considers himself a Noahide.
So
Noahide,
are there any Jewish forms of burrito bars that we know of?
Jewish forms of burrito bars.
I mean, is that sure what a kosher burrito
Chipotle would be? Basically, right? Because a burrito is pretty phenomenal. You have had a burrito before, right?
I First of all,
And
I
I don't
don't
want you to.
kosher. But second, there are kosher burrito bars. Yes.
Okay.
Well, there
There's-
are definitely kosher restaurants that serve burritos, especially in Israel. But, the problem with Mexican kosher cooking is you can't mix meat and milk.
Oh, because they cook in butter and stuff a lot. Oh, gotcha.
They put sour cream and cheese on everything.
Oh, you can't have cheese. I forgot that you can't have cheese and meat. Oh,
You can't have any dairy products with any meat products.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pairing. That's tough, man. God is cruel.
Well,
What has he
Chinese
done to
food,
you?
Chinese
What has he
food
done to
has
his chosen
almost
people?
nothing.
I'm just.
Chinese food has almost zero dairy products in it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
like
good.
there are kosher Chinese restaurants that Jews go to on Christmas.
Well, there are also Jews going to Chinese restaurants because kosher. It's they're definitely more kosher style. Cheeseburgers are not kosher, but can you have butter in your hamburger bun? So no, as a Jew, no.
Jonathan, hop in here.
Jonathan can hop in here. Matthew, if you like,
Man.
you
Is Hezi
hop
here?
in. Chezi probably. It's like what 4 a.m. in Israel right now.
It's 4 a.m.
What time is it in Israel right now?
I, as an American, sometimes have a hard time grasping your time zones.
It is 5 a.m.
Yep. Easy. Guy. Sleeping.
Jason, you said something and I didn't hear you.
I said what?
Okay. You said something and we didn't hear you.
Oh, I said lazy guy sleeping in.
Yeah, 5
But I
a.m.
said that sarcastically because yesterday I slept until noon, and I don't know why. I just.
I usually try and get up around 9, but
Yeah,
it's hard.
that's around when I get up. Okay.
I never feel good when I sleep in that late.
Say our beginning prayer because I do want to translate this sikha.
Who, me or Kirk?
Jason!
Ah, it's always me. All right. I'll do it. Heavenly Father, we come before you right now. We just thank you for this time we get to spend, and we get to worship you and focus on you. And we ask that you help us to bring glory to your name and to honor you. And we ask that you give us eyes to see and hearts to love and direction in where this conversation will go, and give us humility to understand one another. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
So this discourse of the Rebbe was
Lubavitcher?
yes, the 7th Chabad Rebbe was delivered around 10 days after the death of his wife. So it was the Shabbat after it was after Shabbat, so Motzei Shabbat, right? So Saturday night, after he had stopped sitting Shiva, which is the 7 days of mourning for close relatives. And so this was the Rebbe's address, and people didn't want to hear it. So this was second day of Adar in 5748. What year was that?
Was this the second Adar or Adar 1?
This was the only Adar that year.
Not a leap year.
It was not a leap year, no. Okay. Parshat Teruma. Okay. Potchen bebracha. We start with blessings. Shavua tov u'mavorach. Good week, and may it be blessed. Ubahadkasha yetera b'shavua zu. Zeh. Hashua harishon dechodesh Adar. and especially because this was the first week of the month of Adar, where the fast and feast of Esther are. HaChodesh asher nehepach gomer l'simcha l'yom tov. And the month that turned over into a month of rejoicing and holidays. מוזכר לעיל שההפיכה לשמחה ויום טוב היא באופן שמלכתחילה לא באה הגזרה לידי פועל, and like was explained above, I'm guessing he spoke during Shabbat. It was a way in which, because he's talking about the fast of Esther, right, the feast of Esther, it was in a way that the edict was never actually came into being, because first the Jews were allowed to defend themselves. Ki tekef umiyad batla v'nithapcha l'tov, because it was immediately turned to good. V'nepachu asher yishletu haYehudim. He's quoting from the scroll of Esther, right? That which was tried to be done to the Jews was undone. But ad k'dei kach sherabi ma'amei haaretz mityahadin, until to the point where many people from the various lands converted. LiYehudim haita ora v'simcha v'sason v'ikar, and the very famous verse, to the Jews there was light and happiness and gladness and yikar. How do you translate yikar, Jason?
Yikar?
Yes.
That's not like. Well, I mean, I don't know. That's not
Yes,
like
it is
Yakar, is it?
like
Is it the
Yakar.
same as Yakar? So precious? Yeah. I mean, I always thought it was precious, but that doesn't really make sense there, does it?
That's basically what it means.
Oh, okay.
Things that are precious, yeah.
Okay.
Hen kepshuto, whether we're talking about the literal meaning, the hen kedarshat chazal kolel gam hapirushim al pi pnimiut haTorah, or whether it was the rabbinic midrashic understandings, or whether the esoteric understandings. The inyan zen nimshach bechol motzei Shabbat kodesh, and this is something that happens every Saturday night. The al achad kama b'motzei Shabbat kodesh harishon b'chodesh Adar, and how much more so the first Saturday of the month of Adar, keminhag Israel Torahi, because we have a custom among the Jewish community, Tor Hakdama L'Barcha Havdalah, before they say the Havdalah prayer, which is said at distinguishing between the Sabbath and the rest of the week. LeYehudim Haita Ora V'Simcha V'Sason V'Yikar, right? So we quote that verse almost, and we say, actually it is the direct quote. For the Jews, there was light and joy and happiness and yikar. Umosifin umasayamin chen tihilanu, and it is traditional afterward to say, so should it be for us. Shepirshu lo rak lashon bakasha v'tefila, Ela gam lashon shel havtacha shebador shebarush bevadaut shechen tihi lanu. That they're not simply asking that it should be so; they are saying that it will be so in a manner of assurity. V'yiterim mizeh, and even more so, lo rak lashon shel havtacha. Ela gam lashon shel sipur devarim, and even more so, it's like you're telling how things are. You're telling the story. Kloma, that's to say, כשם שליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה וששון בעיקר, הוא סיפור דברים, just like when we read the scroll of Esther, we are mentioning what has happened. כך גם ההמשך דכן תהי לנו, הוא סיפור דברים. Similarly, when we say, so it shall it be for us, it is telling facts. מכיוון שכבר נפעל ונמשך חולו, היינו ואינו אלא מחוסר זמן. It is something that has already been brought forth into reality, and all that is required is the passage of time. אשר יבוא כל זמן וזמן, במוצאי שבת קודש ביום ראשון יום אחד, like we say each week, at the end of the Sabbath, on the first of days, right? Yom Echad, Sunday, which starts on Saturday night in the Jewish reckoning. Ubechol Yemei Hashvua, and to all of the days of the week. Azai tehi lanu ora v'simcha v'sason beikar benogea le'inyanim hamiyuchadim d'zman zeh kol yoma v'yoma avidati. That all that is necessary for that particular time, as it is said in the Zohar, that every day does my will, right? Everything ultimately is ruled by God. ובהמשך לזה, הרי כאן המקום והזמן להזכיר עוד הפעם להוסיף עוד יותר בענייני ברכה. So, continuing with this, we should also say something that gives more of a blessing. B'tor ma'ana al birkat hanichumim. When regarding what we talk about regarding mourning, right? Because he had just finished mourning for his wife. K'medubar la'ayel barucha, as he explained earlier at length. Ubelashon Chazal kvar miltecha amura. And like the sages said, the words have already been said, B'Toratenu HaKadeshah, in the Torah, Torat Emet v'Torat Chaim, the Torah of truth and the Torah of life. Ela shal pi chen mitzvah lomar gam b'dibu. Yet it is still incumbent upon us to say these things with words, and to publish or publicize and let be known with greater strength and endurance. And I will bless those who bless you. Kol hamavarach mitbarech, anyone who blesses is himself blessed. Bebirkato shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from blessings of God. Shetos fato meruba al ha'ikar, that which comes from it is even greater than the essence of it itself. Meruba lo rak bekamut ela gam uveikar be'echut, right? Because God's blessings are not just quantitatively greater than the blessings which bring them forth, but they are qualitatively better. Ad kedei kach shehahosafa hi shelo be'erech legamre legabei habracha shelifnei zeh. That when it comes to God's blessings, they are completely incomparable to that which was before. Even though the blessing is considered the essential and that where it comes from, But when we talk about God, who is completely beyond measure and finitude, you can have such a situation that what he adds to the situation is completely beyond anything that is that comes from that which elicits it. Uber pratiut yoter betochen habracha, and with greater detail regarding blessings, l'chol l'rosh bracha benogel le'inyan hayim. First and foremost, regarding blessings regarding life, v'hachai yiten el libo. This is a quote from Kohelet, which is Ecclesiastes. The living should place upon their hearts arichut yamim v'shanim טובות כאמור באופן של הוספה בכמות ובאיכות עד להוספה שבין ערוך לגמרי. That there shall be a length of days and years of goodness in a way that is greater both qualitatively and quantitatively, to the point that it's beyond it in all measure. Uman yahiv chai yahiv mezone, and he who gives life is the one who gives nourishment. Kol el kol tzarchei ha'adam, which includes all of the needs that a person has. Hen ha'inyanim ha'mufrachim, whether they are things he needs, v'chen ha'inyanim shehen letzorach tanug, and whether they are things that a person needs merely for delight. Asher gam hem mufrachim lechol achad ve'achad me'Yisrael, because these things are also necessary for each and every person from Israel. Lichyot b'nei Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, u'benot Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, being that they are the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the daughters of Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. The whole habrachot, and all of the blessings. The ofen shel netina yiten el libo. All of these are gifts, as it says, shall set upon his heart. The word is the same to give, right, and set. Kol hanoten b'ayin yafeh hu noten. Like the sages say, anyone who gives a gift gives it because he is giving it with a favorable eye. Miyado hamle'ah ha'petucha ha'kedusha v'arachava, or as it says in Psalms, God gives from his full and open and blessed and holy and wide hands. V'yater mizeh, and even more so, l'mala migeder shel darga v'tor, that it is beyond any measure. Ayin yafe yado hamle'ah, when we say with good eye or with his filled hands, shahare b'chol darga v'tor yesh hagbala mesuyemet, that when we say in degrees, this is something that has finitude to it. Ma'atzmuto mahuto yitbarach mamesh shahare Israel v'kudsha barichu kula chad. They come from the essence of God himself, as the Zohar says that Israel and God are completely one. There's a lot to be said there, but we would never get through this sikha. Ubeyachad imzeh, and together with all this, hamshacha hi ad legashmiut k'pshuto, this should come down to include the material. Beyesh hagashmi, material existence, ubelashon hayedua, as is known, milamala mala ad ein ketz, ad lamata mata ad ein tachlit, up and up until there is no end, down and down until there is no different type of end. Ubahadgasha yetera b'shana zu shana hakel b'shanat tismach. And specifically that year was a year of hakel, like it says in, I believe, Deuteronomy. Every 7 years that there was a congregation, an assembly of the people to listen.
Hear the king.
Yes, to hear from the king.
Only
And
applies when Jews live in Israel.
correct. And a year which, so 5748, is, the gematria of it is tismach, there shall be happiness. Shanat hakel, hakel et ha'am ha'anashim va'anashim va'ataf, like it says in the Torah, that all of the people should gather, shanasim kulam mitziut achat, all of them become as one essence. ועל ידי זה נתאסף בתכלית האחדות עם הקדוש ברוך הוא, and through that there is a unification with God himself, Israel v'kudsha brichu kol achad, like we quoted, Israel and God are completely one. Kolel hamshachat habrachot ma'atzmuto mahuto yitbarach, which includes bringing forth the blessings from his very essence. V'shanat tismach, and a year of happiness, tismach tesamach, you shall be happy and you shall create happiness. Simcha sheporetzet geder, happiness that pierces all boundaries. Lamala mikol gedarim midot v'hagbala, beyond any sort of bounds or measures or boundaries, ad la'atzmuto mahuto yitbarach, to God's essence itself. V'hosafa yitera b'chol zeh b'motzei Shabbat Kodesh, and how much more so on a Saturday night after the Holy Sabbath, in Yano shel Yom HaShabbat hu bracha, because the Sabbath is itself a blessing. K'mo shekatuv v'yivarech Elokim et Yom HaShvi'i, like it says, and God blessed the seventh day. Minei mitbarchen kulahu yamin, and from it all the other days receive their blessing. Hanshachat habracha de Yom HaShabbat b'chol yemei hashvua hachel mehavdala b'motzei Shabbat Kodesh. All of the blessings of the rest of the week starts from the Havdalah prayer at the end of the Sabbath. Sha'al yedah mamshichin kedushat Shabbat ubarakato v'yivarech v'yikadesh b'chol yemei hashvua. Right, because through it there is the blessing and the holiness that comes to the rest of the week. V'od v'ikar, and more so, and this is the essential matter. Hasa'udah demotzei Shabbat Kodesh. There is a Jewish custom to have a meal on Saturday nights. L'lavot et haShabbat b'yetziato, to as it were, to accompany the Sabbath as it leaves. Kederach shemelavin et hamelach, just as if a king is visiting you and he's leaving, you go out with him on his way out. He seudat de David Malka Meshicha. This is the meal of David, the anointed king. Hayinu shemikashrin inyaneh shel David Malka Meshicha, David Melech Yisrael Chai v'Kayam. Right. In this manner, we combine this concept of David, the anointed king, the Messiah, and as we say, David, the king of Israel, is alive and lived and established. Lo rak betor David Melech Yisrael, no, not just as David, the king of Israel, Ela gam uveikar betor Malka Meshicha. Specifically, we refer to him as the anointed king, as the Messiah. right? And that's why this is called Malava Malka, right? The accompanying of the king in Sauda Gashmit, Shuta Shenasit Dam Vavasar Kibasaro, right? Through an actual meal that's physical, that you're actually eating, and it becomes a part of you and your flesh. To explain that the redemption is a physical one that comes into our material reality. ונמצא שבמוצאי שבת קודש יש הדגשה יתרה בעניין הברכה. So we see that on Saturday nights there's a special adding of this concept of blessing. שהרי הברכה הכי עיקרית ופנימית היא גאולה האמיתית והשלמה על ידי דוד מלכה משיחה בפועל ובגלוי. Because the essential and internal blessing, the greatest is that there shall be the true and complete redemption through David, the anointed king, physically and revealed in actuality. המודגשת במוצאי שבת קודש באופן גלוי, that is accentuated specifically on a Saturday night in a revealed manner, ad l'seuda gashmi'it kapshuta, to the point that it involves actually eating an actual meal in a normal manner, right? It's a physical, material thing. שגם העניין דסעודתה דוד מלכה משיחה הוא לא רק בלשון של בקשה ותפילה, and to explain that this is that this meal of David, the anointed king, is not merely one of asking and praying, ואפילו לא רק בלשון של הבטחה, and not even an assurance of something that will happen in the future, אלא גם בלשון של סיפור דברים. We are stating facts here. We're spitting facts. ובפרט בדורנו זה, and especially in this generation, שמצד למעלה ישנם כבר כל העניינים מן המוכן. That from God's perspective, everything is already ready. וגם מצד למטה כבר נסתיימה אפילו העבודה דצחצוח הכפתורים, that we've already finished that work which the Rebbe referred to as polishing the buttons.
Jacob?
Yeah?
So the idea of custom of eating a meal on Saturday night, it's sort of similar to the custom of Isru Hag, or the idea that you don't fast on a day before or after a festival, right? Like you're trying to combine.
This is a fourth meal. The Sabbath has 3 meals. This is a fourth meal, which specifically is something that has a concept of trying to bring that which the Sabbath gave us into the beginning of the week and joining the end with the beginning.
And that's similar to like Isru Hag, where you're supposed to combine the Yom Tov with the regular week.
There is
like,
that. Yeah.
I read, the Benish High. Okay,
Kirk, you're moving us out of the thing, and we haven't even gotten to the juicy part yet. So we're going back to the book. Ve'eno chaser ela hagilui la'enei basar. All that is missing is that it should be a light to that it should be revealed to our physical eyes, our fleshly eyes, the yesh hagashmi, that are material existence. Shagam einei basar lamata yiru et hametziut ha'amitit, so that our fleshly eyes should also be able to see here down below that which is the true existence. ויש להוסיף ולקשר עניין הגאולה על ידי דוד מלכה המשיחה, שלמות הברכה המודגשת במוצאי Shabbat Kodesh canal, and we can also combine this the concept of the redemption through David, the anointed king, which is the completion of the blessing, which is accentuated on Saturday nights, as we explained. Im ha'inyan de v'hacha yiten alibo behemshech le'inyan hanichumim. We can now make a now this is where it gets hard. We can make a we can join these two concepts with this concept of the Geula, of the redemption, with and the living shall set upon their hearts. That is, we are talking regarding mourning. Mourning, mourning. Ubahakdama. And as an introduction, Bein Peululotav Ha'achronot Shel Hanifteret. Included in those last things which she who passed away, he's talking about his wife, did, B'chayim Chiyuta, when she was alive, Ba'alma Din, in this world, Shenod'u v'nitparsamu ba'ofen gilui le'enei kol, which were publicized in a way that was revealed to everyone, Gam la'amei haaretz, even the people of the land. Hama'ana shel odot aviha, when she answered, there was a court case talking about when somebody thought that he had inherited certain books from the Chabad library and had decided to surreptitiously take them and sell them on the open market. There was a court case, and the Rebbe's wife, who was the daughter of the previous Rebbe, was asked in a deposition regarding her father. Kvod Kedushat Hamorenu Chatnenu Admor Nesi Doreinu. The Frierdiker Rebbe, the leader of this generation, he calls him. Avi Harebi, hu ba'atzmo b'yachad im sefarav v'chol inyanav shayach l'chasidim. As the Rebbetzin said, my father, the Rebbe, who himself, and along with all of his books and everything about him, belonged to the Hasidim. B'mana zeh bit'ah hanifteret. In this manner, she put words, v'hechriza b'ofen gilui lekol, and she announced in a manner that everyone would know, shenesioto shel nesi doreinu, that the leadership of the leader of this generation, memala mekomam shel rabotenu nesienu, he who was filling the role of our leaders, rabbis of each generation, ad kavod kedushat admor hazake, going all the way back to the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, miyased Torat Chasidut Chabad, who was the founder of Chabad Chasidut, Baal Shem Tov, and Rabbi Israel Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidism, miyased Torat HaChasidut HaKlalit, who founded Hasidism in general, who inyan nitzchi, this is an eternal manner, shelo shayach bo hefsek chas v'shalom, that is not something that can be interrupted, ad biat goel tzedek, until the coming of the righteous Redeemer. Ve'ikar hachidush shebedvar, and the important novelty of what she said, Hayadua, Barur, Belav Hachi, which should be known and clear even without it. Shehama'ana shela nitkabel etzel amei haaretz, that it was something she said which was agreed to in the secular courts and by the other nations. Ve'al yesod ze pasku al derech hasfarim, and that's why there was the court decision regarding the books shechen yakum b'maaser b'poel, that it became something that became a physical reality through that court case. Maybe an interlude soon to recap so far. This is dense and a lot. We just got to the juicy parts. What do you want to know? What do you guys want to know? Any questions? What's missing here?
Is there a reason you decided to read this?
Yes. This is one of the discourses of the Rebbe that people generally don't like to talk about because, as we will soon get to, it is where he talks about his own passing. So what's been going on for the past 30 years is people have not been able to accept the passing of the Rebbe.
Oh yeah, the Messianist
And people have not, and Chabad has not appointed a successor to the Rebbe. And that is the reason for all of the craziness. And when the Rebbe spoke about this himself, people didn't want to hear it. And when he gave this discourse afterwards, he asked them to prepare it for publication, and they refused. And after he passed away, people still don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. They was the shul that had the tunnels under it. Was that a Messianist shul?
No, it was the Rebbe's shul. But the Rebbe's shul, which is where the Rebbe used to pray on Sabbath, is where a bunch of thugs, gangsters, violent, horrible people insist that he's still alive, to the point that if someone goes and stands in the row they try to make for the Rebbe to walk in, they will physically assault that person, as they did this past week.
I mean, teenage boys.
Hoodlums.
Yeah, like, do you think there's an issue with having a Hasidus without a Rebbe? Because this problem also exists.
Yes, it is impossible to have a Hasidus without a Rebbe.
Well, there's Breslov too.
Anyone who does not have a Rebbe, Atzmut Umahut Melubash Beguf, who does not recognize that there's a tzaddik in this generation, is a misnaged. He is Litvish. He is an opponent of Hasidism and an opponent of everything the Rebbe taught.
Fair enough. I don't know if I agree, but I get your point.
Okay. Keep on going, or more questions?
I mean, we can just keep on going, talk about whatever you want. But my point I was trying to make was just like the meal at the end of Shabbat. It kind of reminded me of the custom because, like, you're binding the mundane and the holy. That
is all that Chassidus is about. And if you study Bati Lagani, I have come into my garden. Yeah. Okay. Asher nosaf lakach shemitzad inyan hagalut that which has been added to this matter because of the exile. יש לפסק שלהם התוקף דדינא דמלכותא דינא. That court version, that verdict, is also has the it is the because of the exile, it is the law of the land is the law, right? The law of the secular kingdom is the law. Yesh ma la yetera b'psak shenitan al yedei amei haaretz. So there's an important additional aspect of this verdict being through the secular courts. Kefi shemadgish Rabbeinu Hazaken be'Igeret HaKodesh HaYedua, like the Alter Rebbe in his holy letters says, Igeret Kodesh Shalom. Okay, so not from the back of Tanya, I don't believe. Al derech ha'geula de Yom Tov Kislev, right? Yud Tet Kislev. Regarding the holiday of the 19th of Kislev, which is the Hasidic New Year. Hapele hifla Hashem vehigdir la'asot ba'aretz. God did something great in the world. Be'enei kol hasarim v'chol ha'amim asher b'chol medinot hamelech, right? Through the leaders and all of the people who are part of the this kingdom of this particular kingdom. Habiurim b'hadgashat nes ha'geula, and when explaining and accentuating the miracle of the redemption, be'enei kol hasarim v'chol ha'amim, specifically it was in the eyes of the ministers and the people, ki ha'geula de yutet kislev hi hachana legeula ha'amitit v'hashlema, because the 19th of Kislev is a preparation for the eternal and complete and true redemption al yidei Mashiach Tzidkenu, through our righteous Messiah, shabi'ato taluya b'hafatzat hamayanim da Baal Shem Tov chutza. That part of what needs to happen in order for the Messiah to come, as the famous letter of the Baal Shem Tov says, the Baal Shem Tov in his, it's called his will. It was his last letter, which he wrote to his brother-in-law, explains that he made a spiritual ascent into the heavens and met with the soul of the Messiah, and he asked him, "Emat ka'ati mar, when will our teacher come?" And he said, "Kesheyafutzu ma'inotecha chutza." He said, when your well springs shall spread to the outer reaches, sheyitaken et ha'olam kulo, that the whole world shall be rectified, la'avod et Hashem bayachad, so that they may serve God together. Shneamar az epoch el ha'amim safa berra likro chulam b'shem Hashem lo'avdo shchem echad, as we used to end all of my videos with Zephaniah 3:9. Thus I will turn over to the people a clarified language, so that they may all call in the name of God and to serve him with one shoulder. V'haita l'Hashem hamlucha, and there shall be for God the kingship. Gilui malchuto shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu bechol ha'olam kulo, the revelation of God's kingdom in the entire world. V'al-derech zeh benidon didan, and in this similar manner with what we are talking about now. Shahachraza hanal, that what she announced, shel hanifteret al derech hahemshech v'hanitzchiyut, the Torat hachasidut v'nasi im ad biat goel tzedek nitkabla upa'ala be'enei kol hasarim v'kol ha'amim, that what she said was regarding the Hasidism and the leaders of Hasidism was accepted by the courts. Umezeh muvan, and from this it is possible to understand shaha'inyan davachai yitan alibo tzarich lihiot gam ubeikar b'hanal, that when we say that the living should set upon their hearts, it also needs to be with regarding what we are discussing. Chizuk v'hosafa beyeter set ubeyeter oz v'hadgashat hanitzchiyut, the hemshech Torat hachasidut haklalit, the Torat hachasidut Chabad v'neseim l'dorotehem ad biad goel tzedek be'ofen gilui l'ayin kol gam la'amei ha'aretz. Jason, you want to translate this?
Yeah. You keep going. You're doing great. You're doing great.
I'm doing it great. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job.
Okay. To strengthen even more so and greater with greater emphasis the eternal nature of the continuing Torah of Chasidut, of Hasidism, Haklalit v'Torat Chasidut Chabad, whether it is general Chasidut or that of Chabad Chasidut, v'nesiim l'dorotehem, and that there should be leaders in each generation ad biat goel tzedek, until the coming of the righteous Redeemer, be'ofen gelui la'ein kol, in a revealed manner to all eyes, gam la'amei ha'aretz, and even the people of the land. Ubahagdam, and as an introduction, Gam hayediah al derech hamshacha v'nitzchiyuta shel tenuat v'torat hachasidut. Also, what is known regarding the eternal nature and continuation of the movement and the teachings of Hasidism, tzarich lihiyot be'ofen barur l'kol b'nei Yisrael. It needs to be in a manner which is clear to all of Israel. Shekulam keshurim u'mekablim chiyutan meroshei alfei Yisrael shenishmotehen hem bechinat rosh u'moach. That all of them are connected and receive their life force from the leaders of the thousands of Israel, that their souls are an aspect of head and mind. Gam elu shehem bebechinat tzipornayim, and even those who may be at the level of nails, fingernails, or even toenails. Va'afilu haposhim umordim betalmidei chachamim, and even those who are sinners and who do not listen to the rabbis. Sheyinikatan mebichinat achorayim shel nefesh ruach v'neshamat nishmat talmud chacham, that they receive their life force from, as it were, over the shoulders, from behind, from the other side of the Talmid Chacham, of the rabbis, va'ad shetzarich lihiyot be'ofen barur gam, and it needs to be clear. L'chol hasarim v'chol ha'amim asher b'chol medinot hamelech, that it needs to be something that's clear in the eyes of all of the ministers and all of the peoples from all of the lands. Melko shel olam, the king of the king, that meaning God is the king of the world. Keshem sha'ge'ulah ha'amitit v'ashlema, that as the redemption, the true and full redemption, shenasit al yedei hafatzat hachasidut, he lo rak lechol bnei Israel, that the complete and it's the true redemption which comes through the teachings of Hasidism is not only for the children of Israel, ela gam lechol ba'ei olam. It is for every part of the world and anything in the world. La'ovdo kulam shchem echad, so that they may all follow him in one shoulder canal, like we explained above. V'lachen yesh lishlol netinat makom l'she'ela v'safek b'davar. Therefore, we should not allow there to be any sort of place for a question or a doubt in this manner. Af shebe'emet harezeh muvan upashut lelo she'elas v'safek. Even though this is something that should be understood and clear without any sort of question or doubt. Kevan shetzarich lihiyot be'ofen barur lecho, since it needs to be something that everyone can clearly understand. Gam la'amei haaretz, even the people of the lands. She'etzlam yechola lehitorer she'ela v'safek chulu, that there may be some sort of awakening of a question or a doubt al yedei hadavarim delakama, regarding these matters that we're going to talk about. Kavod kedushat amarenu chotmenu admor nasi dorenu, the previous Rebbe, the Rebbe's father-in-law, the leader of the generation, he calls him, siper li uvda shahaita b'yamei hatzamach tzedek. Told me a story about something that happened during the time of the Tzemach Tzedek. It was the third Rebbe of Chabad, and the Rebbe is a direct descendant, ben achar ben, son after son, of the Tzemach Tzedek.
Named after him?
Yes, and he is named after him. The Tzemach Tzedek is the name of one of the books which he wrote, and it is Gematria. It has the same numerical value as his name, Menachem Mendel, which was the name that the Rebbe himself was given by his parents. Shekama v'kama shanim lifnei histalkuto, that many, many years before he passed away, Diber HaTzemach Tzedek be'inyan ba'ul v'nechshav cheshbano shel olam v'chu. That the Tzemach Tzedek spoke about, come, let us think of the accounts of the world. And that's where I got the title of this video, The World's Account, Cheshbono Shel Olam, the physical, the worldly matters. Let us think about these things. Ma'az Timhati al Hesher Sipur Ze Elai. I was from the beginning, I wondered what is the connection? What is the reason why the previous Rebbe told me this story? ובפרט שבפרטי הסיפור נזכר גם פרט שהוא הפך הכבוד לפלוני שעימו דיבר הצמח צדק, especially since the previous Rebbe was telling me something that had a particular detail which was not a nice thing to talk about this anonymous person who the Tzemach Tzedek spoke to. Shebavada yesh bo hora alai, that clearly this was being told to me by the previous Rebbe because it was something which was an instruction to me. And the explanation for this, after this had happened, that the Tzemach Tzedek, after this matter, lived many, many good years. V'lo od, and not just that, Ela shenit osaf od yoter kehanagat ha'admor rut v'hanesiut, that for many years he continued as the leader and being the Rebbe. Kolel ubebeyuchad hosafa b'hafatzat ha'meyanot chutza, including and especially in teaching of Hasidism to the furthest depths. V'chol zeh, and all of this, ofen giluyu mefursan la'ayin kol, in a manner that was visible and publicized to everyone. Gam l'chol ha'amim v'chol hasarim asher b'chol medinot ha'melech, including every nation and every minister which is in the kingdom of which is in the lands of the king. And from this it should be understood also regarding what we are speaking about now. That this is why the previous Rebbe told me this story. שגם אם יש מישהו שמעורר שעליו הספק שתוכנה בו ונחשב חשבונו של עולם, that if there should ever be someone who raises up and asks this question and brings a doubt regarding, come, let us think about the accounts of the world, אף שלא אמיתתו של דבר אין מקום כלל לשאלה וספק, even though there's no actual place for this question or doubt, כנ"ל. צריכים לדעת שבנוגע לפועל הרי אדרבה, that when it comes to an actual doing things in reality, it's actually the other way. לאחרי שאלז כזו בוודא יתאוסף עוד יותר באריכות ימים ושנים טובות. After such a question, there clearly there shall be more years and long days and good years to come. בהמשך לנשיאותו של נשיא דורנו, in the continuance of the leadership of the leader of this generation, ובהמשך הפעולה להפצת המעיינות חוצה עד ביאת גואל צדק, with the continuation of the works and the spreading forth of the well springs out until the coming of our righteous Redeemer. Va'od inyan bezeh, and there is another matter. Hama'ana b'dibur al hash'elah, the answer with words to this question. Bo v'nechshav cheshbono shel olam, come and let us consider the accounts of the world. Yesh ba segula l'arichut yamim v'shanim tovot. This is actually something which causes there to be greater length of days and good years. So it's not something that chas v'shalom is for the end of the time, but it's something that should be considered even early on. K'de'ita besfarim shepa'ulot v'diburim b'inyanim kagon da mehavim segula le'erichut yamim v'shanim tovot. As is brought in many books, that making preparations in this matter is something that actually results in people having longer days. I'm sorry you have to go, Jason.
Yeah, I might be able to hop back on in a little bit. I just gotta hop off and talk to my parents before they go to bed. So, but
Okay.
I might be able to come back in a minute if it doesn't take too long. So
Okay.
Good
keep
luck
going
with
though.
it.
This is really good. I'll try to catch up on what I missed. So all right.
Okay.
See you guys.
See you. L'erichut yamim v'shanim tovot umatzinu dugmato gam etzel rabotenu nesienu, and we found this manner, an example of this regarding our rabbis, the leaders, kasher bonenin bepartei hanagot shelahem, that when they considered the particulars of how they were going to act, asher la'acharei zeh nitosaf etzlam arichut yamim v'shanim tovot. We see that they looked into this when they there was still much more time and good years. The ha'ikar, and the essence is shemashiach tzidkeinu ba tekef umiyad mamish, that our righteous Redeemer should come immediately and right now. Ka'amor shekvar nishlam ad gam ha'uvda tzich ha'kaftorim. Like we said, that we've even finished polishing the buttons. V'lo notar ela hagilui beinei basar. And all that is left is for it to be revealed to our fleshly eyes. Where were we? Va'az na'aseh, and therefore was made lo rak arichut yamim v'shanim tovot. There should not just be a lengthening of days and years. Eila chayim nitzchiyim kepshutan mamish. That there should be an eternal, that there will be a simple eternal life as we understand it clearly. The resurrection of the dead, even. Umikana ba'im lama'ana al she'elat. Hello, Matthew. How you doing?
Good. Continue.
Umikan ba'im lama'ana she'al she'elah hana. And from here we come to the answer to this question. Amor betor segula, that is said, it is something which brings forth la'arichut yamim v'shanim tovot, a blessing for long days and years. v'tov hanira v'hanigla, through a visible and revealed good, mitoch simcha v'tov lavav, happily and from a good heart, cheshbono shel olam, account of the world, lo tzrichim lachashev, we don't need to think, mikevan shekavar naasa hacheshbon beofen barur me'u'ar b'toratenu hakadosha, since this the planning has been done in a clear manner and enlightened, illuminated manner in our holy Torah. Ner mitzvah v'Torah or. A commandment is the lamp, and the Torah is the light. Kenoga lanesi harishon de bnei Israel. When we speak about the first leader of the children of Israel, Moshe kibel Torah misinai masara Yeshua, that Moses received the Torah and he passed it on to Joshua. Biur hadavar, that the explanation of this is inyano shel Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moses, our teacher, in his totality, Hanasi Harishon de Bnei Israel, the first leader among the children of Israel, Torah, he received the Torah, Masra Yeshua, and he gave it over to Joshua. Lo rak besmichut lehistalkuto, ela tekef umiyad be'et kabbalat haTorah. He didn't give it as something ordaining him for after he had passed away. Rather, he gave it over immediately at the moment that he received the Torah. He passed it on to Joshua. Kibel Torah misinai, as he received the Torah from Sinai, Klomar, that is to say, Masra Yeshua, he passed it on to Joshua, who said there the Kabbalat HaTorah, that is part of the receiving of the Torah. Shekol inyan shemekabel Moshe mosro tekef umiyad leYeshua, that everything that he receives, Moses immediately hands over to Joshua. Ve'ein zeh shayech le'inyan shel histalkut, that this is not because he was passing away or he was dying. Sheharei ha'inyan de masra leYeshua haya kvar bezman matan Torah, that when he gave it to Joshua, it was at the time of the giving of the Torah. B'tchilat nesiuto, at the beginning of his leadership, Shel Moshe Rabbeinu, of Moses our teacher. V'l'achar zeh hirich yamim b'shanim tovot. And afterwards he lived many years. V'al derech zeh benidon didah. And similarly, when we discuss this matter in our case, Al Pi Torah, regarding the Torah, Machot Netuna Masrua Lebeit Din Tzedek. Ordination has been given and handed over to the rabbinic court. Man Malki Rabbana. Who are the kings of Israel? They are the rabbis. Ubebrat Din Tzedek Shel Rabbanei Lubavitch. And specifically, when we talk about a rabbinic court of the rabbis of Lubavitch, Chabad, Asher Peskei Halachot Shelahem Miyusadim Umevusasim Al Nigla de Torah Beyachad Im Pnimut HaTorah, that any of their judgments are based on and founded in that which is revealed of the Torah, together with that which is the inner aspects of the Torah. Behita'em lechidusho shel Rashbi, as it relates to the teachings of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Machatzti v'ani arpeh. I don't exactly know what this word, this here is saying. 56. It is Hazinu Adam Levarach. Okay. Not exactly sure what he's referring to here. Bitul hamechitza bein nigla de Torah lepnimiut haTorah, nullifying any division between that which is revealed in the Torah and that which is the esoteric parts of the Torah. Va'ad la'ofen de yitparnesun, to the point that they shall receive their livelihood. B'havana v'hasaga b'chochma bina v'dat, in understanding the three intellectual aspects of the Sfirot, which is Chabad, the Nefesh Elokit, Nefesh HaSichlit, Ad LeNefesh HaBahamit, which comes from the holy soul to the intellectual soul, down to the animal soul, Al Yedei Torat Chasidut Chabad, through the Torah that is taught in Chabad Hasidism. V'lachen b'chol inyan ve'inyan, and therefore in every matter, hen be'inyanim ha'pratiim, whether they are personal matters, v'hen be'inyanim ha'klalim, or they are general matters. Yesh lehitnaheg al pi hora'at habeit din tzedek shel Rabbanei Lubavitch b'chol makom v'makom. Therefore, one has to act in the manner of the teachings of the rabbinic court of the Chabad rabbis in each place. Sha'al yedam nimshachim umitgalim piskei Torah, that through them are brought forth and are revealed the judgments of the Torah. Shemoshe kibel chulu masra, that Moses received and he gave over. Nigla the Torah, upinimot Torah, whether it be the revealed parts of the Torah or the inner aspects of the Torah, b'mitziut ha'olam, in how the world exists, kolel gam b'yachas lepeula al umot ha'olam, whether it has to do with how to deal with the nations of the land. Af shemitzad atzmam ein lahem shaychut lepnimiut haTorah, even though they from their own aspect are not related to the inner aspects of the Torah. Ki im la'atid lavo, but when in the future, kepsak din harambam, according to the judgment of Maimonides, Besof v'chotem sifrob, at in the end, and the crown of his signature of his book, the Mishneh Torah, should be Yomot HaMashiach, on the days of the Messiah, Lo Yihye Esek Kol HaOlam, that the entire world shall only be involved with, Gam Umot HaOlam, even the people of the lands, meaning the Gentiles, Ela Lada'at et Hashem Belvad, only so that they will know God, Shneamar Ki Maleh Haaretz Da'at et Havaya, like it says, that the land shall be filled with knowledge of God, like the waters cover the seas is the rest of it. Upashut, and it is clear. שההודעה על דרך סמכותם של בית דין צדק. And since the ordination of the members of the rabbinic court, umasra chulu, and it has been handed over. Ba'a biyachad im ha'osafa ba'arichut yamim v'shanim tovot. It is with adding in long years and days. The tov hanira v'negla lamata ma'asra tefachim, in it revealed and visible goodness that is not up above but here down below. Ka'amor, like it is said, shalacharei shemasra leYeshua herich Moshe Rabbeinu yamim v'shanim tovot. That just as it says that after Moses gave the Torah to Joshua, he lived many years. Nosaf l'chach shahadibur bezeh gufa mehave segula le'erichot yamim v'shanim tovot kanal. Specifically, since simply discussing this causes there to be a longer, it brings forth the blessing of long years. V'chol zeh nosaf al ha'ikar, and all of this is added to the essence. Shemashiach tzidkenu ba tekef umiyad mamish, that our righteous Redeemer, Messiah, will come immediately. Va'az yihiu chayim nitzchiyim kibushutai, that there will be eternal life as it is simply understood. V'ka'amor shal yedei hacheshbon hana, and like it is said, through making this account, cheshbono shel olam, an account of the world, al pi Torah, through that which is taught in the Torah, yit'asef od yoter be'inyan hachayim, there shall be added an aspect of life. V'achai yiten ilibo, the living should set upon their heart. Shechen al pi ma shenemar b'kohelet, regarding what is said in Ecclesiastes, ein cheshbon, there is no account. I don't know what he's specifically referring to, but 61, 9, 10. I guess we could look up Ecclesiastes 9:10 and see what it says. Ecclesiastes. Where is the Hebrew? Ra'eh chayim im isha asher ahavta kol yemei chayeh havlecha asher natan lecha tachat hashemesh kol yemei havlecha ki hu chalkecha b'chayim lecha asher ata amal tachat hashemesh kol asher timtza yedechem lasot cheshbon da'at v'chokhma b'sheol asher ata holech shama. Interesting. So the full, it's 9 and 10. Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity, which he has given thee under the sun. All the days of thy vanity, for that is thy portion in life, and in thy labor in which thou dost labor under the sun, whatever thy hand finds to do, do it with thy strength. For there is no work, no device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom. So they're translating that ein ma'aseh cheshbon. They're translating that as device. In Sheol, whither thou goest. So that's what the Rebbe is talking about. Interesting. Glad I looked it up. Muvan she'inyan hachayim kashur in cheshbon davka. We see that life is something that has to do with an account specifically. Cheshbon the kedusha, an account of holiness. V'yedei ze yitasef gam be'inyan habracha, and through this there shall also be blessing. Al derech mashe amor be'yitzchak, regarding what it says regarding Isaac. V'yizra Yitzchak mea she'arim v'yivarchehu Hashem. It says that Isaac, whatever that means, but he planted 100 gates, and God blessed him. Hainu she'al yedei hacheshbon, that is, through making an account, mea she'arim, 100 gates, nit osaf be'inyan habracha, there was an additional blessing. Okay, yadua she'ikar mekor kol habrachot le'olam himshich Yitzchak davka, that as is known, all of the blessings are in a manner brought forth through Isaac specifically. Va'ad l'shleimut habracha, to the completion of the blessing, ge'ulah hamitit ve'ashlema, the true and the complete redemption, al yidet Mashiach tzidkenu, through our righteous Messiah, hakashura im Yitzchak, that is related to Isaac. K'ma'amar Razal shel atid lavo yomar leYitzchak davka ki ata avinu, that as the sages said that in the future, specifically people shall refer to Isaac as their forefather. V'chol hashe'elot v'hasfekot, and all of the questions and doubts, v'telim legamre, are completely nullified. Ka'amor al yesod psak din Toratenu HaKedusha, through the foundation of the verdict of our holy Torah. V'laha'ir shel amitato shel davar ein ze psak din. And even though that really this is not a halachic verdict, ela adara, rather psak zechut, it is not a verdict, but actually it is an entitlement. Kolel she'al yedo naaseh hazichuch v'habirur, which includes that within it there is a refinement and clarification. Ubelashon hayadua zechia nikia berera, like the aphorism that there is a clear and clean refinement or entitlement. Umekevan she'ein lecha simcha kahatarat hasfakot, and since there is no greater joy than being removed from doubt. Hare mikan v'lahava holech, from now and forward it shall go v'nitasef b'yeter set u'b'yeter oz, it shall gain and grow. B'chol inyanei tov v'kedusha, in all manner of good and holiness, mitoch simcha hachi gedola, through the greatest type of happiness, umitoch menuchat hanefesh umenuchat haguf, through a spiritual rest and a physical rest, ubeofen shel vadaut, and in a manner of clarity, the whole inyanei kedusha, in all manner of holiness, hakeshurim im hakadosh baruch hu, that are connected with God Himself, havadai shamo ken tehilato, that which is clear is His name, and that is His praise. The chad kama v'kama b'nogel lebnei Yisrael, and how much more so when it refers to the children of Israel. Israel v'kucha brichu kol achad, God and Israel are completely one. Ulesichum be'otot otiot peshutot, and to explain and conclude with clear letters. Devar baru, something that is clear. Al pi psak haTorah, according to the laws of the Torah. Asher mikan v'lava holech v'nitosef be'inyan hachayim. That which from now and so forth comes from matters of life. More clearly, strength, with greater strength and capacity. La'orach yamin v'shanim tovot, for many long days and good years. V'yetera mizeh, and more so than this, be'ofen de'mechaye chayim, that in a manner from he who gives life to all life. Hayinu shemamshichin tosefet hachiyut gam lekol echad ve'echad miYisrael shenikraim chayim, that we bring forth a greater livelihood to all, each and every member of Israel who are called life. Kamosh katuv v'atem hadevakim b'Hashem Elokechem chayim, like is written in the Torah, you who cling to God, to the Lord your God, are alive. Kolel gam shekol echad ve'echad meYisrael naaseh bebichinat mechayeh chayim, including the fact that each member of Israel is made from an aspect of he who gives life to all life. Nerot la'ir, lamps to give forth light. Ayedei ner mitzvah v'Torah, or through the commandments which are lamps and the Torah is the light. Va'ad shemamshichin et inyan hachayim, in a manner that they bring forth life. Gilui v'hamshachat alokut, the revelation and bringing forth of godliness. Mekor hachayim, who is the font of all life. Bechol ha'olam kulo, to the entire world. Ube'ofen sha'hamshacha hi min haketzeh el haketzeh, and in a manner that this is brought forth from one end to the other end. V'lamala migeder ketzvot, and even beyond any ends. Milamala mala ad ein ketz, until high above to the point that there is no end. Lamata mata ad ein tachlit, and down below until it is without end. V'lo od, and not just this. Ela shenasit mitziut achat, that they are made into one creation. Koloshon harambam betchilat sifro mishnah Torah, like the Maimonides says at the beginning of his book Mishneh Torah, hanikra betfutzot Israel hayad chazaka, which is referred to among Israel as the great arm. Al Shem hakatuv alachol hayad hachazaka asher asa Moshe le'inei kol Israel, which is related to the passage in the Deuteronomy, which says the great hand which Moses did in the eyes of Israel. Yesod hayesodot va'amud ha'chochmot, the foundation of all foundations and the pillar of all knowledge. Rosheh Tevot Havaya, which the acronym of which is the Tetragrammaton. Ligeda, that it is to know. Sheyesh Sham Metzui Rishon, to know that there is a primordial existence. V'chol hanimtzaim lo nimtzau ela me'amitat himatzo, that all that exists only exists because of the truth of his existence. Ha'inu sha'ametziut shekol hanimtzaim hi amitat himatz'o, that the existence of anything that exists, it is from the truth of his existence. Ulashon Rabbeinu Zaken Be'Igeret HaKodesh, Siman Chaf, in the epistles in the Tanya, epistle 20, Bechinat Keter, from the aspect of the crown, Shehithavut Hayesh Hi Memahuto V'Atzmuto Shel HaMa'atzir Baruch Hu, that all the being of all creation comes from the essence and existence of he who emanates it. Shemetziuto hu ma'atzmuto, that his existence is essential to him. Ve'eno alul me'eza ilah shekadmo lo chas v'shalom, that he is not caused by something which caused him, God forbid. Hu levado bekocho beyichalato livro yesh me'ayin, that he alone has the capacity to create ex nihilo, b'chol rega v'rega, in each and every instance, kefi shepirash habal Shem Tov, like the Rabbi Israel Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidism, explained, b'inyan chidush hitavut me'ein liyesh b'chol rega v'rega. They explained that all of creation has to be created at every second, since it is something that comes from naught. Pirash gam melashon hafatza, and explanation also is something which relates to expansion and bringing forth. Fanander Gesprite. My Yiddish is not very good. Bechol ha'olam kulo, in all of the world. The ha'ikar, and the essence is shekol ze yumshach bepol mamash, that all of this should be brought forth into actuality, begeula ha'amitit v'ashleima al yedei Mashiach tzidkenu, through the complete and true redemption through our righteous Messiah, Sheba Tekef Miyad, that should come immediately, V'zochim Lirot Be'enei Basar, and we should be able to see him with fleshly eyes, Mar'eb Etzba'o Ve'omer Zeh, that a person should be able to point and say, this, Hine Zeba, here he comes. V'yesh la'osif l'kasher kol ha'amor, and we can add and connect all of that we said above. La'il im hakriya b'Torah b'yom ha'Shabbat, to that which we read in the Torah this Sabbath, Parshat Terumah. The parsha was Terumah. Which is about v'chu li teruma, take for me a donation, v'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, and you shall make for me a tabernacle, and I shall dwell within them. The koi gam ubeikar al mikdash ha'atid libnot, that lehibanot, that it is related to and most essentially to the third temple which shall be eventually built. Mikdash Hashem konenu yedecha, the blessing, the temple of our Lord, your hands have established, la'atid lavo shekol hamlucha shelo, and that in the future all kingship shall belong to him. Ve'inyan ze eino rak b'lashon tzivui v'gam lashon haftacha. It's not merely a commandment or even an assurance. Ela gam b'lashon sipor devar. We're spitting facts. We're talking about what is true. Shahare mikdash ha'atid banuya umeshuklal Yigale v'yavo min hashamayim. That the third temple has already been built and it's ready, and it will be revealed and shall come from heaven. Ve'eino ela mechusar zman. That only time needs to pass. Yushach v'yitkale bepoel. That it shall be brought down and revealed physically. V'nimtza shebeparshat teruma mudgash inyano shel Beit HaMikdash. We see that in this week's parsha, I don't think we're nowhere close to Truma right now. I don't think. Are we? I don't think we are.
We're in Parsha Bo.
Yeah.
That was today.
But where is Truma? I don't remember.
I think it's in Numbers.
I don't remember. That the is accentuated the Beit HaMikdash, the temple Hashlishi, the third temple, Sheyibaneh bimhera b'yameinu, that should be built soon in our days. The Geula, the Atida lavo, in the future redemption which shall come, tekef umiyad mamesh, immediately. V'hemshech hakriya b'torah b'tefilat mincha, and a continuation of what we read in the afternoon prayers of the Sabbath, which is for the week to come. Va'ata tetzavet b'nei Yisrael, and you shall connect or you shall command the children of Israel, which is actually the last mimer that the Rebbe left, was Atah Tetzavet. Kepirush Rabbeinu Azaken, like was explained by the Alter Rebbe, Tetzaveh Milashon Tzavta. Command comes from a language in Aramaic of connection, Veitkashrut, the Kol B'nai Israel, Bechinat Moshe, of connecting all of Israel to the aspect of Moses. V'yetera mizeh, and even more so, Kafi Shemoshe Nikra Ata, and since Moses is referred to as you, Lamala Mishemot Avatoarim, which is greater than all other names, Bechinat Ata Shebamoshe, that aspect of you that is in Moses. Shehu Inyan Ha'atzmut, the Atzmut Ein Sof Baruch Hu, that is essential of the essence of God, of the Eternal One. Blessed be He, Shenikra Ata, that He is referred to as you. She'al Yada Mekasher et Kol B'nei Yisrael im Mahuto V'atzmuto Yitbarach, that through it He connects all of B'nei Yisrael with the essence of God Himself. Israel v'kutshabrichu kulachad, Israel and God are completely one. V'nimtza, and it is found Parshat Tetzaveh, that in the Parsha of Tetzaveh, she'etchilu likro minchat Shabbat, that we started reading at the afternoon prayers of the Sabbath, mudgash inyan tzavta v'hitkashrut l'kol b'nei Yisrael laMoshe Rabbeinu, that there is a accentuating of this connection of Israel to Moses, our teacher, it pashtuta de Moshe b'chol dara, and the echoing of the soul of Moses in each generation, asher kol nefesh v'nefesh mibeit Yisrael yesh ba bebechinat Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom, that each and every Jewish soul has an aspect of Moses within him. Shal yedezen in shachim in yanav shal Moshe Rabbeinu l'chol echad ve'echad me'Yisrael, that through this that which Moses taught is brought forth to each member of Israel, hen begashmiut vehen va'ad achad kama v'kama be'ruchniut. Whether we're talking physically or we're talking spiritually, kamosh katuv, like it says, tov ein hu yevorach ki natan milachmo lada. Like it says that great is the eye of he who is blessed to give from his bread to the poor. Kolel gam kol inyane brachot. That includes any manner of blessing. Arichut yamim v'shanim, long days and years. Mea v'esrim shana, Moshe Rabbeinu, like we talk about 120 years, like Moses lived. Ve'od yoter mizeh, and even more so, man de yahiv chaye yahiv mizonim. He who gave us life gives us our daily bread. Ad la'ofen shel ashirut, Moshe Rabbeinu, until a manner of wealth like Moses. ומيום השבת נמשך גם למוצאי שבת כל הימים של אחרי זה, and from the Sabbath is brought forth to all to the Saturday night and all of the days of the week. Shavua tov u'mevorach, a good week and a blessing. V'shana tova u'mevorechet, and a good and blessed year. Le'orach yamim v'shanim tovot, for long days and years. Betov hanir v'nigla v'ad lahabracha ha'ikarit, through a revealed and visible good, until the essential blessing, ge'ula ha'amitit v'ashlema al yedei Mashiach tzidkenu, the complete and true redemption through our righteous Messiah. Tekef umiyad b'motzei Shabbat Kodesh. It should be immediately on Saturday night. Seudata de David Malka Mashiach, in the meal of Saturday nights, which is of David, the anointed king. Yes, sir.
How many more pages do we have? Because
This is the last page.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Hello, Rabbi Mullet.
Shalom, Rabbi Mullet.
Exodus 25, fraud tells us, is teruma. Okay. Kidei lemaher ulazarez inyan hageulah, in order to bring, make more speedily this matter of the redemption. Yesh lahosif b'mitzvot hatzedakah shemekarevet et hageulah. Person should add to the mitzvah of charity, which brings closer the redemption, keragil, which is as is normal, l'sayem b'shlichut mitzvah l'tzedakah, to end with making people agents of tzedakah, ubefrat beboenu mishabat parshat shekalim, and specifically when we come to Parshat Shekalim, which is right before Purim. Shetochana netinat machatzit hashekel, which the important part is to give the half of the shekel, inyan hatzedakah, which is part of the charity, kedei lichbor al nafshatenu, l'chaperet nafshenu, in order to atone for our sins, befrat shenimtzaim kvar besiyuma v'chotma. Specifically, since we are at the end of it, b'motzei Shabbat Kodesh, on a Saturday night, shel Shabbat harishona the Chodesh Adar, the first week of the month of Adar, Lacharei Shabachad Ba'adar Erev Shabbat Kodesh Mashmin Al Hashkalim. Since the sages said that on the first of Adar we announce that people should give shkalim, asher al yedei zeh hekdim shkalehem, that through this that they brought their shkalim, their thing, naaseh nes purim. That is why the miracle of Purim happened, v'nepachu, and things were made, were turned over. Hachodesh asher ne'epach gomer l'simcha, the month that was turned into happiness, v'yiratzon shal yedei ha'inyan d'mechitzit ha'shekel, and it should be God's will that through this half shekel, yihyeh kitisa et rosh bnei Israel, it shall be that you will raise the heads of Israel, nesiat rosh etzel kol echad ve'echad me'Israel, that there should be a raising of the heads of each and every one of Israel, the Klal Israel and the congregation of Israel, b'tachlit hashlemut v'geulah hamitit v'hashlema al yedei Mashiach Tzidkenu, through the redemption, bena'arenu v'zidkanenu, both the young and the old, bebanenu v'natenu, our sons and our daughters, hakel et ha'am ha'nashim v'nashim v'taf, and you shall assemble the people, men, women, and children, kahal gadol yeshuva henna, a great congregation sits there, la'artzenu ha'kedusha, to our holy land, u'ba'ofen deyarchiv Hashem elokecha et gevucha, and in a manner, as it says, God shall widen your boundaries, eretz eser umot, that it should be the land of the 10 nations of Eretz Israel Atzma, and in the land of Israel, Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, in Jerusalem, the holy city, U'ba'ofen, the Verama, and in a manner of heights, Tachlit Harchava, which is the most greatest of broadening, of Yerushalayim Atzma, Lebeit HaMikdash HaShlishi, and in Jerusalem itself, the third temple, Mikdash, Hashem Konenu Yadecha, the temple of the Lord, your hands have established, Ad Lekodesh HaKadashim, to the Holy of Holies, Shabo Nimtza HaAron Al Im HaLuchot HaBrit, that within it is the ark with the tablets of the covenant. Brit Olam La'am Olam V'Nachalat Olam, the eternal covenants to the eternal people and the eternal inheritance. V'od Lefi Shemas Pikim Lekayem Et Hashlichut Mitzvah L'Tzedakah, and more so when before we get to doing the agency of giving charity, Bahosafa midile, the Poel Mamish Hare Kabbalat Hachlata Bezeh, from it itself, it should be in actuality that a person should accept a good, to do something good in this, Pa'ulat Kavar et Haschar, the doing is itself a merit. The Kiruv HaGeula, Geula Amitit HaShlema Al Yedei David Balka Mishcha V'lo Ichvan Keheref Ayin, the coming of the full redemption through David, the anointed king, and it shall only take a batting of an eye. Lacharei chalukat hashtarot letzedakah, after the Rebbe gave dollars so that people could give charity. Nikshu harabanim chavrei habeit tzedek shlita, the rabbis of the court came ubarchu et kavod kodeshat admor shlita barichut yamim u'b'shanim tovot. They came and they blessed the Rebbe that he should live long, many years. V'shiyeh v'atat tzavet b'nei Israel, and he shall command the children of Israel. V'osif kavod kodeshat admor shlita ba'ofen dener l'maor l'lo ha'inyan dekatit b'tov ha'nireh v'hanigla. And the Rebbe said that it should be in a manner that the light should not need to be crushed, as that verse says, b'tov ha'nireh v'hanigla. Things should be clear and good. Okay, we got through all of it, and it only took 2 hours. Are you guys glad we're done?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, you are. I have seen some of your stuff. You are certainly upset at the movement of messianism in Chabad. I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, it is an issue when you put your stakes on something so hard like that, in my opinion.
I mean, what can I say? I mean, the Rebbe was pretty clear. And for our Christian friends, as much as I love them, nothing has made it more easy for me to understand how Shavua Tov, Chezi, not sure if you listened to any of that. You probably could have translated that much better than I did. But look, the Rebbe was clear in his teachings, and people didn't want to listen to his teachings, and people still don't want to listen to his teachings. So what can I say? We have all the stupidity, and the stupidity doesn't stop.
I understand the psychology behind why someone would be devoted to something like that, though. Like, I can empathize.
I understand the psychology too. They can't accept that the Rebbe passed away. The funny thing is that the worst and the stupidest people are the people who were born after the Rebbe passed away. Like now, the people who are most like the hoodlums, the gangsters. Yeah, so I went through a sikha. Charlie says, you missed the whole party. 2 hours of Jacob translating Hebrew. Yeah, I actually didn't know if Jason was going to be here. And I mean, the fact that this hasn't been translated to English, I've considered just translating it to English myself and publishing it. And I might still do that. But yeah.
Do you have any Hasidic dynasty other than Chabad that you're particularly fond of?
Satmar.
Yeah, because of the anti-Zionism, but like any, yeah, because they're pretty insular. Come on.
Look, I mean, the Satmar Rebbe was an incredible person. Ger, obviously, I mean, the Sfat Emet. I mean, sure, I learned the Torah of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, they all have what to contribute. Ger is a little bit more liberal than Satmar, to be honest. To my understanding.
Okay. I mean, what exactly Ger is and how Ger, I mean, it's not so obvious. Fraud says, unironically, my favorite thing about this channel is Jacob translating Hebrew texts.
Jacob is a master of the Hebrew language.
I don't know if I'm a master of the Hebrew language, but
You seem to know Hebrew as well as I know English.
no, I certainly don't know Hebrew as well as you know English. But I have a better capacity to translate from Hebrew to English because a lot of people who their English isn't as good. I thank God I am more I have more capacity in English uh, than a lot of people. But
Are you excited for Purim coming up?
when is Purim coming up? This is Yud Shvat. We have a month to go until we have 2 months to go because this year is a leap year, isn't it?
It is leap year? I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure this year is a leap year.
Okay, yeah, then I guess it's a month, but it's still the next holiday. It's can you fulfill your mitzvah of getting intoxicated by smoking marijuana?
No.
I see.
Uh, I mean, Chazi might disagree, but I don't think so. Yeah, it's March 23rd is Purim.
Oh, okay, so it's not in a month now because it's a second Adar.
Correct.
I mean, Purim, it is a very spiritually important holiday in the sense of it's the theme is redemption.
Chazi also says no.
Oh, okay.
And Sandy says there are 2 Adars.
Is Trey doing anything? Is he just working? Or
I have no idea what Trey's doing.
Trey, if you're texting girls, I mean,
That's what he should be doing.
I mean, you should go into a bar, meet some people in real life. You know, you're capable.
Some people in real life, but just as long as he's going on dates, I'm happy.
If you want to come on, Hezi, and give a Devar Torah on the Torah portion, that I always appreciate that. Did you go to synagogue today?
Did I go to synagogue today? I did not
Yeah.
go to synagogue today.
How often do you go to synagogue?
Not very often.
I try to go at least every Saturday.
Chazi doesn't drink alcohol on Purim. Chazi, you're
You have to for Kiddush.
an amazing person.
Well, I guess you can use grape juice for Kiddush.
Charlie goes to synagogue every single day, 3 times a day. And when there's roofs off, 4 times a day.
Wait, is Charlie Jewish?
No, I was joking. Okay, I need to grab my laundry out of the thing. Kirk, don't do anything silly or stupid.
Okay. Let me see. Is Rabbi Mullet still in? Well, I don't know if you can pull.
Really? Nobody's saying anything the whole time I was gone?
I mean, what was I supposed to say? I didn't want to say anything stupid, and Trey was muted, so
Okay. Let's see what people said. Kirk, what is your favorite color?
my favorite color probably cyan.
Cyan. People dismiss the value of texting in relationships. It is a learned skill.
Depends what type of relationship you're talking about.
Kirk, do you have time for all the history and details of Judaism and still do school?
I mean, I don't know all the history and details of Judaism. I just know what I can from people like Rabbi Mullet and Rabbi Skobach and David Bar Chaim, but you know.
Please don't put David Bar Chaim in the same category with Rabbi Skobach and Rabbi Mullet. I posted some Torah thoughts on Friday. Nathaniel, it's a balance of patience and engagement. Knowing the art of approach and withdrawal. Efficient. Is Jacob going back to Torah? Is he? Okay, so what are we talking about now?
From what I understand, there's an idea that the week will reflect the weekly Torah portion.
Yes.
So yeah, so this week's Torah portion bow. So this is about like the Exodus. So it should. I guess this week she'll feel like Passover or something like that.
And I mean, I think you may be taking it a little too.
Not literally.
Yeah. I mean, so there is the idea that the Parsha, the weekly Parsha, is reflected in what happens because the Torah is the spiritual reality the world relates to.
So here's an interesting philosophical question. Do you know what the general moral explanation is for why God had to kill all the firstborn Egyptians in the story of the Exodus?
Say that again.
So, like in the book of Exodus, it says that God, struck all the firstborn Egyptian males. Like, is there a reason morally why that's justified?
Well, I mean, God can judge. I mean, God does judge who lives and dies all the time.
Yeah, but that's an entire category of people.
Yeah, but God created all of those people, and God knew all of those people, and so the judgment of God is one that is all-knowing, and so, like, I mean, you can ask questions why specifically he decided that all those people should die together. But I mean, as far as the fairness of it, as long as it is God's own judgment, then obviously it's like, yeah, I mean, the answer to that is the book of Job. Have you read the book of Job, Kirk?
I mean, I've read parts of it, but I'm not exactly familiar with all the details of it.
Do you know what the main story is about?
So I believe the story is Job. He's the one. So it's about Job's suffering.
That's a large part of it, yes.
And like a big question is like the question of theodicy, right? Why do bad things happen to good people?
Aha, yes. So Job
I've seen Jordan Peterson lecture on it, but I don't remember that much about it.
Job was a righteous man, and God allowed Satan to do horrible things to him. And his friends came and said, God is righteous, so you must have done something wrong. And Job's like, no, but I didn't do anything wrong. And his friends are like, well, you wouldn't be suffering if you weren't, because God doesn't make people suffer unless they deserve it. And Job's like, well, God kind of messed up here. And Job and like his friends are like, no, that can't be. And then God shows up and he's like, you guys have no idea. I'm God. Shut up. The end.
I guess God is too mysterious to ask those kind of questions.
Well, I mean, the fact is, we will eventually understand, but that's when the Messiah comes. And but right now, we have no capacity to really understand why God does what he does.
Yeah. It's deep.
Have you met my kitty, Shadow?
What's her name?
Shadow of Death.
Yeah, I've seen her before. She's pretty cute. It's a she, right?
Yes. Well, she was before she got spayed. Now, she's been neutered.
Neutering isn't Sarah
apparently
Balahiayim.
Christians see the Torah through a glass darkly. You're absolutely right. Say that again.
Neutering isn't what? Sarah Balahiayim, like
Neutering
President.
is actually prohibited explicitly in the Torah.
And why would you, as an Orthodox Jew?
Neuter my cat.
Yeah.
Orthodox Jews should not neuter their animals, but if legally necessary, they can allow Gentiles to do it if it's like a legal requirement. Ask your local Orthodox rabbi. Fraud says, where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. That is a quote from Job.
Is that a quote from the Book of Job?
That is a quote. It is a rather famous quote from the Book of Job.
Is Job read on any specific holiday, or?
No, it's way too long.
Yeah. Well, Jonah is read on Yom Kippur. I know that.
Yeah, but Jonah's only 4 chapters.
Yeah. I mean, Job would probably be more fitting since, like on Yom Kippur, you're supposed to atone by afflicting yourself physically.
Yeah. I mean, you're certainly welcome to read Job on Yom Kippur as well, but it's not part of the actual liturgy. Chezi says, we reviewed this last week in Breach Shalom. And Chezi was apparently about to quote the exact same verse. It's a pretty famous verse.
How's your education to become a therapist going along?
Don't remind me. It's
Not great.
it's going along. I mean, it's going along. It is what it is.
You're a pretty smart guy, but to be a therapist, I think you need to be a little bit more in tune with people.
You do?
Yeah, and with all due respect, you're not always the most in tune with people.
Is
my
that what you think?
I mean, you're a smart guy, but you're a little bit stern in a way that a lot of people don't appreciate.
And you think that whether or not they appreciate how smart you are is a good way of knowing whether you're a good therapist?
I mean, to be a therapist is to bring people closer to like mental like wellness, and part of that is being opening to people, and you don't always come off as the most opening person.
One of the most important things that many therapists unfortunately don't do is telling people what they don't want to hear. In fact, I think that's one of the biggest things that's wrong about what you call it. What about aliens?
Wait, who's this nice streams?
All
Do we
the
know
most
that?
interesting people end up coming from Twitch because they randomly find this place.
All the what people?
All the interesting people.
I mean, I came from Twitch.
Exactly. Twitch viewers are, yeah, like that's the only reason I stream to Twitch. Like barely anybody watches my channel on Twitch, but every once in a while somebody comes in. Kirk from the top rope. Yeah, I'm not sure I would say that. Everyone needs a stern therapist to tell them to clean their rooms, get married, and have children. Basically. Now Charlie's on Twitch.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think you're a smart guy. I mean, you know, do you know where you're getting your degree in therapies from? Is it like the University of California, or
It's the University of spending way too much money for a stupid degree.
what's that university?
I'm getting my master's of social work from Walden. It's a horrible university.
Nutrition work, Kirk. Therapists don't do the work; they wait until and know how to use the line well.
KL keeps on saying that these streams are the best.
I wouldn't say the best; they're pretty good.
What can I do? Sandy says, by the way, thanks for getting me to read Peterson, Jacob. I still have Beyond Order up there, and I haven't finished it. I haven't even started it. I should read it.
I don't agree with Peterson always, but I do look up to the man. He's a much needed voice in our times.
You don't agree with him?
I mean, I agree with him mostly. I think he gets some things wrong.
You think he gets some things wrong?
Everybody gets some things wrong.
Everybody?
I can't think of, other than God, I can't think of a single person who gets everything right.
Okay, but what makes you think you know where Jordan Peterson gets things wrong?
I mean, I don't know. I would just imagine because he's human.
Okay, but you said there are things you disagree with him.
Like, I think he interprets the Bible a little bit too metaphorically in a very loosey-goosey way that, I mean, as an Orthodox Jew, you might not appreciate. I mean, it certainly goes out of...
I have never found him to be too loosey-goosey with his thing. I find his Bible lectures boring, but that's because if I wanted to if I want Bible commentary, like I have much better sources, but that's not because I disagree with him. It's just because he's like a kitty in the kiddie pool.
I mean, yeah, he's a smart guy, and I appreciate a lot of what he says. I mean, what more can I say? Do you have any? Do you feel like we're close to the Messianic era?
We are definitely close to the Messianic era.
It's another 30 years? When's the predicted date?
Hayom im bakolo tishma'u. That's from the Talmud.
And when is that?
Hayom. Do you know what Hayom means?
The day?
Today. Im, if, bekolo, in to his voice, tishma'u, you shall hear, listen. Jacob, you a big fan of Kierkegaard? I have never actually read Kierkegaard, but he's, from everything I've heard of him, he's my favorite Christian because he said Christianity was silly.
Well, Kierkegaard was known for the leap of faith, I believe. That was one of the most famous contributions to philosophy, the reason to have leap of faith in God or something like that.
Okay, let's read what the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy has to say about Kierkegaard. Soren Kierkegaard was an astonishingly prolific writer whose work, almost all of which was written in the 1840s, is difficult to categorize, spanning philosophy, theology, religious and devotional writing, literary criticism, psychology, and social critique. Kierkegaard's mode of philosophizing opposes system building and owes more in its approach to the ancients, particularly his hero Socrates. Though his work also draws strongly and creatively on the Bible and other Christian sources. The opposition to system building means that Kierkegaard has often been understood as an arch opponent of Hegel, but scholarship in recent decades has challenged and complicated this view, suggesting both that some of Kierkegaard's central ideas are creative developments of Hegel's ideas, and that the main target of his critique is certain Danish Hegelians influential in his day, rather than Hegel himself. Also often dubbed the father of existentialism, this label obscures at least as much as it reveals, especially to those who associate existentialism with atheistic figures such as Sartre. Kierkegaard's thought has certainly influenced thinkers in the phenomenological and existential traditions, including Heidegger, that Nazi, Sartre, that idiot, Jaspers, have no idea who that is, Marcel, sounds familiar, still don't know who that is, and Levinas, which Yosef really likes and thinks is very Jewish, and probably is. I haven't read Levinas. What's it? Yosef keeps on talking. I should. But also thinkers in very different philosophical traditions, such as
Ludwig Wittgenstein.
Wittgenstein. I don't know who he is.
He was a linguist guy.
Poor guy.
I
Famously
saw
described him as a saint and by far the most profound thinker of the 19th century. In addition to influencing philosophers and theologians, inside and outside his own Lutheran tradition, oh, poor guy, Kierkegaard's thought has also influenced various novelists and poets, including Henrik Ibsen, Franz Kafka, Miguel de Unamuno, August Strindberg, don't know who that is, W.H. Auden, also don't know who that is, Walker Percy, I'm not sure I've read Percy, John Updike, don't recall, Richard Wright, no idea. R.S. Thomas, again, no idea. And Haven Kimmel, again, no idea. Artists and filmmakers, including Edvard Munch and Carl Theodor Dreyer, no idea who that is. Psychiatrists and psychotherapists, including Ludwig Binswanger, never read him. Carl Rogers, one of my professors really likes him. Royo May, no idea. R.D. Lang, no idea. Irvin Yalom. I think I've looked into him for a little bit. For articles on several of these influences in philosophy, theology, and literature, see one reason why Kierkegaard has had an impact upon such a diversity of figures is his focus on the question of what it means to be an existing finite human being, a concern he associates with inwardness, and which contrasts with what he takes to be the misguided idea that what can understand reality in a disengaged manner, he's right about that, and from no particular point of view, very right about that, he believed that his age had in various ways forgotten this fundamental truth. He's very right about that. An enormous failing manifested in both its philosophy and its theology. Well, I'll agree with all of that.
So, what I was going to say is, so his idea was like he was critical of postmodernism.
I have no idea.
Well, because Ludwig Wittgenstein, I haven't read. I've seen some videos about him. And from what I've seen, he was the idea that like everything is made up of different essences that when you combine them make a new object. So like
never heard of him.
You have an apple, and then when you squeeze the apple, it turns away from an apple and turns into juice or something like that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, sounds not very interesting. Chazi says Levinas is very important.
I mean, I
know
saw
Piazza-
Chomsky had a criticism of him, but I don't know anything
Who
about
cares?
linguistics.
It's Chomsky. He's an idiot.
I agree.
Where were we? We were reading Kierkegaard. Kierkegaard does not think of the human self predominantly as a kind of metaphysical substance, but rather more like an achievement. The human self is an achievement, a goal to strive for. Okay. To be sure, humans are substances of a sort. They exist in the world, as do physical objects. However, what is distinctive about human selves is that the self must become what it is to become. Human selves playing an active role in the process by which they come to define themselves. I don't like this. This idea is familiar from existential thinkers such as Sartre, and we can thereby understand why Kierkegaard is often described as the father of existentialism, however unhelpful that label may otherwise be. However, as we shall see below, one important difference from Sartre is that for Kierkegaard, the idea of
Kierkegaard.
It's Kierkegaard. Of existential.
Kierkegaard.
You're wrong. It's Kierkegaard.
Show it to me.
Okay. How do you pronounce Kierkegaard?
Kierkegaard.
And,
Got him.
but
Got him.
Gardner saying he hooked promise here.
Kierkegaard.
Well,
When the gunman
I was 100% expecting you to be wrong.
How to pronounce this name, as well as how to say more interesting and often unclear names from philosophy as well. So make sure to stay tuned and consider subscribing for more learning. He was a Danish philosopher, theologian, and poet. How do you say it? Soren Kierkegaard. Soren
Oh!
Kierkegaard.
Oh!
Pretty
How does
straightforward,
it
once you
feel?
know.
How does it
Soren
feel?
Kierkegaard. And
Honestly,
God.
know.
this is a
Here on that.
surprise to me because
Got him. Got him.
what's his name? Who was? Why? Whatchamacallit says it's Kierkegaard. PVK
Who?
said it's Kierkegaard.
Yeah, but he hasn't even read any Kierkegaard.
Doesn't matter. He's actually Danish. Van der Klei.
I mean, I would trust John on Danish things more than I would Paul. He doesn't even speak the language.
This is true.
I think actually it's got to be an 8, just because I've been taking so many L's that this is my time. I'm so happy right now.
Trey, though, you have some Destiny to watch.
Kirk, don't you have some girls not to talk to?
I mean, I'm 16. My choices are limited.
Exactly. Like it's literally the perfect time to ask women out.
Yeah, but I only like women that are like in their 40s.
Yeah, we get it. Anyways, Soren Kierkegaard.
I guess it's Kierkegaard.
Let's go.
Kierkegaard.
I'm so happy. Literally, like this is my time. I love Soren Kierkegaard, so whatever we're talking about, I'm in.
I guess it's Kierkegaard. I sit corrected.
So based. Let's go.
So based. Okay, one more.
Søren Åby Kierkegaard.
I don't know.
Søren Åby Kierkegaard.
She seems to be saying Kierkegaard. Don't know what to tell you. Okay. Well, we're gonna go with Kierkegaard now. What can we say? What were we doing? We were looking at the thing of thing. Okay, I guess I'm gonna go Kierkegaard. Let's see what people have to say. So KL says Kierkegaard, like churchyard. Nathaniel says, yeah, PVK and VVK say Kierkegaard, I'm pretty sure. Fraud says, honestly, Trey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you right now that you caught Jacob being wrong?
You didn't see? We already put up that comment.
The long O sound is an A with a circle above it, as in at least in Norwegian. See the Hebrew, the spelling in Hebrew. I don't know what the spelling in Hebrew of Kierkegaard is. It's actually O with no D. That's what he's. I don't know. You know
How
what?
did we get here?
Because Trey wanted to correct.
How did we even start talking about Kierkegaard again?
Oh, what's his name asked?
Charlie?
Yep.
I mean, he's an interesting guy, I'm sure, but I mean, he's a Christian. He's a Lutheran.
He is
He's so based. Honestly, I can't believe that like he low-key gave the best illustration on Abraham that I've ever heard.
Who?
Kierkegaard.
What did he say about Abraham?
He gave the best commentary on Abraham and Isaac that I've ever heard.
Which is?
Talking about the leap of faith. You got to read his book. I'm sorry. I can't inform you.
I have to read his book.
Yeah, it's almost as if anytime I ask you a question, you send me to a 16-hour stream.
There's a channel called School of Life on YouTube, which does philosophy videos, I think.
Okay, let's see what he says about leap of faith.
Just so you know, you have to read it in the original language to understand it.
Well, that's not. This is long. I'm getting bored of Kierkegaard.
He's so cool. He's so based. I think he gave the only idea of like being a committed religious person that I think is legitimate.
So, I mean, the leap of faith is what, that we don't know everything. We don't know about where we come from, so we assume that there's something higher in place of it. Or do I have that wrong, Trey?
No, it's like having a girlfriend. You don't know all the steps, but you're jumping into it as an example of love. So just like with just like Abraham, right? He's making an active choice for his life to be meaningful by following God. The book goes into more detail, but yeah.
And that's totally consistent with Jewish ethics.
I don't see
Hey,
why not.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Jacob told me the story about the Jews in the Holocaust, which is like the prime example of faith. So I feel like Kierkegaard is in that lane.
Yeah.
Garth says, ask CW about Kierkegaard. I actually want to ask CW about the
Who's
Rav, because CW, when I told him he needs to read Halachic Man, not only did he get Halachic Man, he found a bunch of commentaries on Halachic Man that I had never heard of, and apparently he read them all. And CW's last communication with me was the Rav apparently rocked his world, and he's still trying to digest it.
Who's CW?
CW's a guy.
Is
Yeah.
that an acronym for his name?
CW, the type of guy to say "shiver me timbers."
No, he's not.
CW, the type of guy to have extra long stockings.
Trey. I think Trey's just fucking with this. The CW isn't an acronym
Are you
for his
still
name?
in San Francisco?
Yeah. CW, the type of guy to say indubitably.
CW's first initials are, I think his first name is Charles.
Charles Walker or Charles what?
Something. I've also met CW in person.
Is he
CW,
Jewish?
the guy.
CW's wife is much nicer than CW.
Is he Jewish?
Oh, it's Christopher. No, he's not.
CW, the type of guy to have those grandma candies. I'm talking about the Worcesters.
Those are grandpa candies, not grandpa.
How much Torah
Yeah.
are we gonna read this stream?
No, I'm talking.
I spent 2 hours translating a Sikha.
I mean that was nice, but I mean that's the Rebbe. That's not Tanakh. We almost never cover Tanakh here.
Kirk, will you ever be satisfied?
Hopefully. How was your week, Jacob?
I was busy.
Yeah, so you're trying to balance work and learning?
I'm trying to balance everything.
I mean, between this YouTube channel, your job, and learning, it must be tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I live a more comfortable life than most people, so. Okay.
Well, there's that to be grateful for. Your job wouldn't give you severance pay if you just decide to leave?
I own my own business.
Oh, I thought you worked for like an insurance company.
No.
Well, that's actually probably easier than being an employee, I would imagine. Or
I can't do employee. I get fired way too fast. Charlie wants us to read the book of Hebrews. That
In the Message
Theological.
translation.
theological crime
well,
scene.
not as bad as the Book of Revelations.
The book of Revelations isn't bad. It's the book
Yeah.
of Hebrews that's a theological crime scene. Garth went to bed. What
Oh,
time?
can we read the Bible in pirate? Can we go through Job and pirate?
Job and Pirate.
Can you? Did you look that up? Look up Job, Book of Job, pirate edition.
I mean, I heard of the
Or-
Houthi pirates, but I don't know what you're talking about.
No, there is
Look
a
it up.
pirate translation on Bible Gateway.
I could read the Hawaiian edition. I think I'm skilled enough in the island language. Hawaiian pidgin. I'll do that.
It's funny, but
Jacob,
Have
what's
Oh,
your
brother,
favorite?
cause
Working on the Lolcats Bible.
Jacob, what's your favorite mitzvah to do?
My favorite mitzvah to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess Talmud Torah.
Shema is pretty. I mean, you're unifying God, right?
I mean, you can't. You can't really rank mitzvah. Although, I mean, Hamanat Elokut might be, but yeah, no. I mean,
Wait, what's Hamalat?
Ha'amanat Elokut, to believe in God.
Oh,
There is an argument to be made that that is the most important.
is
which is worse, pirate Bible or the Message?
I have no clue, and I could care less.
what's the message?
It's the best Bible translation ever.
Is JPS Tanakh pretty good in your opinion, Jacob? Or no?
No.
So, can we talk about this whole Witch of Endor business?
Sure. What do you want to say about the Witch of Endor?
So, Hezi said, I don't watch Harry Potter because it's got spiritual forces in it, blah, blah, blah. But why does the Bible talk about the spirit Witch of Endor if I couldn't watch a movie about the Witch of Endor?
Hold on. First of all, I don't think Hezi said you can't watch Harry Potter.
He doesn't watch it, but doesn't him saying it's halakhically prohibited.
Second, the Bible tells us stories about things that happen. That doesn't mean the Bible approves of it.
Yeah, like
Right.
Lot got
Exactly.
his daughters
You make
raped a
this
lot.
mistake constantly.
Exactly.
Lot got raped his daughters, right? So there are plenty of cases like that.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, why can we watch a movie that gives bad takes?
But he
Like,
never said. I don't think has he ever said we can't watch a movie yet. I mean, you're putting
he
words.
says, oh, you know what? Hezi's in the chat. Just tell me. You said we avoid these things. I remember hearing that. Like, I avoid Harry Potter. I avoid
And-
like spirits and everything like
Harry
that.
Potter isn't Jewish, and I think non-Jews can do sorcery, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. They cannot do sorcery. Sorcery is not allowed to Gentiles, as far as I know. If it is, that's news to me.
There have been no non-Jews that have been Well, that's what. Mm.
But again, Trey, I don't even understand what your question is.
Jacob, what's your favorite color?
Okay.
Kirk,
I'm
we're
trying to
having a
get back to
discussion
Torah.
and you're interrupting. You were saying, Trey.
All right. If the book is trying to give a moral point and trying to show that the Witch of Endor is a bad person, right? I'm very confused because, like, for example, Harry Potter would be taking those same ideas. I mean, there's the full bloods and the half bloods, right? Wait, I'm gonna get back to this point. I got distracted. There's people who are using the gifts given to them
I have
for
no
good.
clue. I have no clue what you think Chezi said. And I'm not sure Chezi has any clue what you think he said.
How's it going, Hezzy?
You know what? I'm sorry, Hezzy. You explain your position.
I never said you can't watch Harry Potter. I said you can't say the name Voldemort. No, I'm joking. I didn't say. No, I didn't say you can't watch Harry Potter. Maybe I said that, like, if someone's like really into, I probably said that watching Harry Potter is okay, right? Dressing up as Harry Potter and going to all the conventions and like learning the spells by heart is like probably too much time spent into something like that. Now that would be, the Torah would say that's true about anything. Like if you're spending too much time I'm saying not embodying Torah values or doing mitzvah, then you're basically not focusing your time properly. But reading Harry Potter, like, will I read that to my son? Like, sure. Like, there's nothing like wrong with like on that end. That's fine.
Do you think the story of the Bible repeats? Like the stories told
Yes.
within the Bible? Yes. Okay.
Like
Do you
they're told again and again and again. And I this week's portion, I spoke about how the story, in a certain sense, the stages of creation are reenacted again in the last 3 plagues. So yes, these things repeat themselves again and again. And we're told that there's a famous saying we say, which is Maaseh Avot Siman Lebanim. The actions of our forefathers and our fathers are, what would the English translation be? They're indications for us. They're mappings for us. So that's the language then. Today the language would be that the patterns that our forefathers and the biblical characters represent, those patterns repeat themselves in our day-to-day life.
Yeah, and that kind of, is that similar to the point I was talking about earlier, that the week's Torah portion kind of influences the week in a spiritual sense?
Yeah, I mean, like you'll find some which they have to do like different gematria, the numbers to show how it's relevant. That's also said about the daily prayer, the daily psalms that the Levites would sing. So also there you could try to find some sort of word that has to do with your week, but I wouldn't spend too much time correlating your week to the weekly portion.
You don't have to spend time, but you feel it.
Yes, sometimes you can feel it. Sometimes it could be a regular Tuesday and you're not thinking about like murdering Amalek. So it doesn't necessarily have to do with your day-to-day, but the Torah has to do with your day-to-day in general. So you could always find deep meaning there. Sorry, Terry, go ahead. What's your point? I'm sorry.
No, it's not. So
No. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I was just saying that can't you say that other writers could re-embody that story, especially if they come from an Abrahamic tradition like J.K. Rowling? He froze.
You were cut off. Sorry, Trey. Go ahead.
If the story of the Bible repeats again,
yep.
Can we say we can reenact the story in a different way, especially if it's from a writer who comes from an Abrahamic tradition and is trying to embody the story again?
What do you mean by reenact it in another way? And the reason, just let me just give an example of what I mean. This is something that Jacob was talking about last week while studying Tanya. He spoke about how we're told b'chol dor vador chayav adam lirot atzmo kilu yatsa mitzrayim. What I said over there, in every generation, each man needs to see himself as if he himself was redeemed from Egypt. And Rabbi Soloveitchik, the Rav, who was mentioned earlier, his tradition was that all the kids and the family members would walk around the table. They would dress up into like Egyptian garbs and walk around the table as if like they're holding stuff on their back. And the idea was to physically reenact like what it was to be in Egypt. So you could fully be embodied in this story and recognize and feel like familiar with it. So as far as like that reenactment, that would be like one extreme, which is like you're literally getting dressed up that way to be in that mindset. But generally speaking, when we read these things about our forefathers and the biblical characters, we are always trying to connect the things we do with the way they act. And that's why we say that the forefathers, the patriarchs, the three of them specifically, hen hamerkava, they are the chariot. The chariot is obviously like a theological understanding or mystical understanding of our relationship with God's throne and the world. But these are all these concepts of these people, Moses, Aaron. These are people that we bring inside to our hut on Sukkot. So we are always trying to engage with these concepts and these people. I don't know if that's what you mean by reenactment.
Yeah, that inviting the patriarchs is one of the things that the Kabbalists and the Arizal recommended. Into the sukkah.
Go ahead, Trey.
So okay, we're getting somewhere. So can people say that current events, just to ask the question again, can people say that current events are like the Bible? So can we compare current characters to like people in the Bible? So like Moses.
Current characters, or even current events, like the war with Israel right now. Should I be reading it and trying to decipher it through the biblical patterns?
I would say retrofit. So a historical event happens, and then we say, oh, this is like the Bible, right? We're not going revelation with it. We're just saying like for example, we could say that like, you know, the Jews being freed from, you know, the Holocaust and everything like that. That would be an example of, you know, a great tyranny like the Pharaoh being released.
Correct. I mean that's obviously a very big tension, right? People saw the establishment of the state of Israel as such an event. Obviously, there are others. In this case, let's say specifically, like Jacob and I would disagree with how to interpret that, right? So, like some would see, like I could interpret it as promises being made, move to the land, make big theological claims, right? So Rav Kook, who I mentioned a lot, was very, very,
Pro.
I mean, very pro and definitely influenced by this. However, others were not. Others said, like, others could even read the opposite into it, right? That this is just another level of deception. And by doing so, we are buying into secular lies and causing devastation to our country.
Yeah, like Hezi, are you familiar with the Netziv?
Yes.
I believe wasn't the Netziv also an early supporter of the Zionist movement?
I don't know about Zionist movement, but yes. Again, that's a very loaded term.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he supported the settling of the land of Israel.
Correct, but
before we
sorry, go ahead. Go. I don't want to move too far away.
I'm going to finish this. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. My question then is, can we reenact? Let's say, can we reenact events that are similar to the biblical story, but not directly to it? And this is why I'm sort of saying, like, oh, I'm confused here, because it seems like we can say historical events that are currently happening that are not analogous, like not one-to-one what's happening in the biblical stories. We can say those are like that. And then we can also tell stories about history in a way of the Bible, but we couldn't reenact stories that are similar to the Bible, referencing the Bible. That's a question that I'm interested in, at least.
Unfortunately, I'm not fully understanding the question. I want to try to, if you don't mind, try to explaining it or give me an
Yes.
example of what you would
Yeah.
mean. Like, give me an event and frame it to me with how you're trying to ask this question.
Yes. So, I don't think Harry Potter's the best example, and I think
Okay.
going like 1-to-1 with it isn't the best, but it's the best I understand. I think that in some sense that maybe I'm pushing your limits, but I think that Harry Potter was written by someone who was in the Abrahamic tradition and is pulling those themes pretty much into it.
J.K. Rowling.
Um,
Okay,
yeah,
but
she's Christian.
but Trey, so before going there, just we'll make it
Yeah.
easier. She's her foundation is Lord of the Rings, right? And at that point, you're saying you'd be like, "What? You know, is Tolkien doing something biblical?" And the answer is 1,000% yes. And that's why you hear Lewis being quoted constantly, right? So he took a world and built a whole world with heroes, and all their traits are a lot of them are being taken from biblical concepts, right? So that is reenacting
Yeah.
the Bible in a certain way. So people that love Harry Potter or people that love Star Wars, right? They just like the pattern of the biblical story. And the same thing with the Marvel movies. These are all just repeating the same story that humans are very, very, very connected to. And, this is like something that Jordan Peterson would call like a hyper truth, right? Which these are
Yeah.
patterns that repeat themselves constantly, right? So if I turn Iron Man into the martyr that gives himself, so like this is a story that humanity has already been imprinted onto humanity.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah,
Successfully, they do that.
Okay, but why getting involved in that world? Would that be a bad thing, especially if it's something that the children could probably relate to? Like, have you heard of the Minecraft Bible?
I did not, but this relates to, in a certain sense, to what Jacob's talking about. Like I'm making a Bible that's like with humor in it, and I am not opposed to that in general. Like there's no difference than like my kids reading. Excuse me for 1 second.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Sorry, there's a lot of construction where I'm at. So so if you're now telling me, okay, if I understand correctly, now my son comes home and says, "Hey, Dad, I'd like to watch Harry Potter together." Right? So would my attitude be like, I should watch the series with him because this is a palpable way for him to learn some of the undergirding patterns of the Bible, but have it being taught to him in a enjoyable way, so that he's going to be learning this in a subliminal way. And then next week, when I'm going over his Bible homework, I could reference, just like when Slytherin does XYZ, so this is also like Korach does XYZ. Can I use that as like a tool? Then the answer is like, yes, of course. You just have to make sure you clarify where's the hierarchy and what's divine and what's not. Does that make sense, Trey?
Yeah. Okay.
And is that what you were asking? Like, and was it like, and what I'm answering to you is like, that's how you use it? Like, that's how you would reenact it?
Well, are you saying, when you say like somebody getting obsessed with Harry Potter, are you saying more or less that it's the same as like a gaming addiction, where they're being obsessed with something to the point where it's consuming their whole life? I guess that's the question I'm wondering.
Well, 2 levels. One, yes, anything that you're obsessed with that's affecting your life is not ideal. It's just an obsessive behavior. Secondly, you just bought all the Harry Potter cards, right? But I also could have done charity. I also could have used that money for like real things, right? So there's a difference between like I enjoy doing this to like this is a value to this is my job right now. I'm a professional Harry Potter guy. There's my son really likes talking about the wand, right? So I could be like, oh, it's interesting, like, Moses has a staff and here's a wand, and the idea is that you could take like powers or energies and transfer them, like, so I could have that whole conversation. Now my son wants to take a picture of every single wand and talk about it. He's like, Dad, do you know this one was made out of like olive wood and this one, and like, you're like, no. This is like a waste of time at this point because there wasn't actually a wand. And if you're going to spend time thinking about those things, maybe think about quantum mechanics or about Bible studies or about other stuff that are actually real. So there's like a limit of how far, like if I know how to speak Elvish, I didn't help anyone. You know what I mean? Like it's not real language at the end of the day. And I spent a lot of time and effort and my neuroplasticity to learn a fake language. So if my son seeing Legolas jump on an elephant inspires him to be like, wow, I gotta learn Aramaic much better, then great. If it means he wants to now grow his hair long and become a blonde elf, then we've strayed off the path.
Does that answer your question, Trey?
Yeah, it does.
And that's all the Witch of Endor was doing. When the king walked in, she was like, bro, I'm just playing Harry Potter.
Could Chabadniks also be in that category if they're obsessing a lot about the Rebbe?
Yeah.
For sure.
It depends on the individual, but yes. I mean, at the same time, you can have a hobby that's useless but can help you in certain learning skills. Like, if I spend a lot of time on chess, it might not help me in real life, but chess is good for logical thinking, right? I hope
Correct. I mean, all things in moderation. Even if I read all of Harry Potter, that's also going to be beneficial at the end of the day. I'm working on my vocabulary, and it'll be easier for me to read other books. But, Trey, by the way, you know, it's never easy to fall asleep with all the lights on in your room. It's very problematic.
I don't know. Maybe I want to get comfy. You know, if my body's comfy, maybe my mind will be more active. You know.
That's true. That's true. I hear you.
Do you want me to
Jacob,
I can do that if you want. If that's
Jacob, did you start this stream with like a topic or no?
Yeah, we spent 2 hours reading a Sikha of the Rebbe.
About this week's portion? Or about the Bible?
About Messiah.
No, about what should happen after he passes away.
Yep, and unfortunately, no successor.
Unfortunately, nobody likes to listen to that Sikha. So, as far as I know, I may have made the first video translating that Sikha from Hebrew to English.
I would say that I would hope that from this unfortunate situation with Chabad, Chabad will hopefully grow from here.
I would hope so too.
Did you speak to any?
Yeah,
Yes,
I've
good.
had a pretty good indication that actually this may have awakened some people to be like, okay, this has to
Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to get to that point to be able to actually fix things. Unfortunately.
Trey, you're. Oh, I thought you were frozen for a second.
Oh, I'm so depressed right now.
Is there
depressed right now?
Oh, well, first of all, that's a loaded term. I'm not actually depressed, but like this is my father's fault as well. From midday Saturday, I start getting sad that Shabbos is leaving, and the week is coming, and now it's Sunday. My kids are in school. That means reality kicks in again, and I feel the protection and holiness of the Shabbos Queen leaving me. Soon, phone calls begin, clients, demands, reality, dirt.
maybe
still have clients
What do you mean, do I still have clients?
with the war?
Yeah, I still have clients. There's
Maybe-
things are affected differently. I have projects that have slowed down but are still moving. I have projects that are still like in the design planning phase. So like in a few more months, if the war is going on, then I'll be affected. But so far, I mean, I'm affected that my business partner is in the reserves right now. He's only home once a week, so that's very difficult.
When are they gonna just be done with this? I mean, how long can they do this? They're not actually going to be able to destroy Hamas. That's not a thing.
I mean, I could see them there for another year.
Really? Wow.
Well,
Well, listen, the deal from Hamas came out recently. What they want for to release the hostages, they want Israel to stop the fight, the war. They want Israel to release all their hostages, all their prisoners, including anyone they caught with regards to October 7th. They want a commitment that we're not going to pursue Hamas any longer. We're not going to restart any war, and we're going to leave the generals alone. And we're going to remove ourselves completely from Gaza and no security system over there. So, obviously, that's not going to happen, right? So, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, at the same time, where I am sensitive to the idea and open to the idea of a Palestinian state in general, right? Because I want peace. I don't think it's crazy to the Gazans who want to. Israel's offer them a package. Go here. Here's $1 million. Go anywhere you want. Okay, Scotland will have you go to there. Here's Scotland. Here's some of the money. Anyone that wants to leave this place out of the 2 million is welcome to go. Maybe 500,000 will go. Maybe they don't want to be there anymore, and then we'll have to deal with 1.5 million.
How much are you offering?
No, I just threw out a number. That's just my point. Being
$1 million to 2 million people is $2 trillion.
By the way, let's play with that number. So what? People around the world have been printing money like it's nothing for the last since 2008. Great, here's another and we've been talking about all these billionaires and trillionaires. Just give them some money. Print out more money. Make a new currency.
That's not necessarily how it works. Inflation is real. And that's Krugman's talking points, but that's not how economics plays out.
I don't know how many Paul has been proven wrong a few times.
Yeah, most times. Regardless, on a lighter note, they don't have secular Sunday off, has he? In Israel?
They do not have Sunday off. There were talks about having some sort of one Sunday a month off, and the idea was also that's time where people could be spending money, putting it back into the economy, blah 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 blah. Right, moving soccer's to Sunday because most religious people won't go watch any of the soccer games on Saturday, but that has not happened yet. And now, due to the war, they're just gonna, they can't have people working less. They're upping taxes. They're gonna up the VAT.
I understand. It's just, in America you get 2 days off, and in Israel you only get 1 day off. It seems, and on that 1 day off you can't do anything with your phone or anything. So it doesn't seem.
Well, that's not. That's not Israel's fault that if you are observant on Saturday, that they could be that's on you.
Yeah, but they could give people employees off on Sunday just to spend time with family.
They can, but they remember that they're a socialist country. And then they say, we don't want to be doing that. We want you to be working. Work. Work for very little pay.
There's a difference between an IDF soldier. I think your average Israeli that just works in this domestic job that's not in the IDF. How vital is that to have them working 1 extra day? I would be very mentally anguished if I couldn't get 2 days off from school.
Yep. Next time you come to Israel and you see an Israeli, remember that. Remember that he's mentally anguished. Remember that he's been working all the time. He's upset. He's rude. He's going to haggle with you. I think Trey is stuck right now.
No, I'm not.
Oh, no, he's not. He just likes freezing his whole body.
Trey, did you do any drugs?
No.
Okay. Good.
Trey's trying to maintain his security
Kirk,
Trey, when's your next trip to Israel?
well, when is my next trip to Israel? I don't have a next trip to Israel.
There's only
what?
I was gonna say it's a big deal. It's a big place, you know. That's where Jesus came from. I would think you'd maybe want to just come over and take a look, see what all the talk's about.
I would love to.
One day. There's great waves over there. There actually is. There isn't great waves.
I mean-
this is no great.
if the event happened at Israel, I'd go. But it got canceled. So.
If the event happened in Israel, I don't know. I think October 7th was a message from the sky saying it's not going to happen this year. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see, and we'll see what the TLC will be. I don't know. Paul's talking to Van Dyke. Not to Van Dyke.
Paul Vanderklay.
Paul was talking to Van Donk, using different names now, right? This little quarter, the Peterson sphere. What are we all doing? If this is even going to be here
Federer
next
has a
year.
diverse audience.
Talk, no doing.
I mean, Hezi, maybe Israelis could have Sunday off if the Haredim would pull up their bootstraps and just work and not take subsidies from the government.
Well, after this war, everyone in the country knows, and I'm sure it's going to be another point of tension, but like the status quo with the Haredim right now is not going to be able to be kept. What that means, I don't know. Hopefully, it will mean that the secular will realize.
I mean, not just secular, the modern Orthodox world and the Masortim and everyone but the Haredim realize.
Yes, but for the Haredim to want to do this, it will require from the secular to recognize the Jewishness of the state, to recognize more of their value, and it's
yeah.
you need two to tango. You can't
I
be
agree.
talking about Haredim as like they're blood sucking parasites.
I wouldn't say
That's
they're
not-
They're not. They're
Of-
not.
of-
But it is
I know you're not
unfortunate.
saying that, Kirk. You could understand how secular people have like
I've
a
seen
big issue with this.
I've seen Nathan Slifkin. I think I've seen some terms that are some that he's used in some of his articles, but he's never. I don't think he's ever called them parasites.
He's religious. You're not talking about the basic Chiloni who, for some reason, has it in his mind that he exists in Israel outside of Judaism.
Correct. And October 7th, in a very sad way, in a very sad sense, reminded them that like they don't care that you grow a Christmas tree in your like, because in a lot of these kibbutzim right outside Gaza, where lived the most secular left-wing Israelis, and one of them, who his daughter was kidnapped, he was talking about how he was getting ready, he was getting his Christmas tree. So like the terrorist that walked in there didn't say like, oh, a Christmas tree, this guy might not be into Judaism, I'm gonna spare him. He didn't care at all. He didn't care if the guy prayed, never prayed, did pray, has no idea who God is. He was Jewish. And I think that woke up a lot of dormant feelings and awareness in much of who's coming to my door, in much of the society in Israel. However, you still have last week. Excuse me for a moment. Hi, Margie. Good morning.
How are you?
Thank God. How are you?
I am going to mute him so we don't listen to his discussion with Margie.
Yeah.
How you doing, Shadow?
I lost my train of thought, but I guess I was.
How's Margie?
Margie is doing well. Thank God. Margie's doing well.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the secular population does need to understand the Haredi mindset. It's just, I mean,
I think all the secular population should be deported.
No, I don't think they should be deported.
That's
However,
fine.
I do think that like 70 to 80% of this country is, in Hebrew I would say emuni. In English I'd be like they have faith. Okay, in general, like it's very loose loose terminology, but I would say there's like 70% that's on a spectrum from religious, observant to faithful. Okay, and then there's around 20 to 30%, which are the mixed multitude on both sides, and they need to go, and that requires. I know this sounds like an extreme. Even like a civil war of a certain state, like there has to be some sort of clarification done. I don't want people dying on the streets. On the other hand,
That's Tim Pool talking. I mean,
on the other hand, Israel and any country can't be brought to its knees by a minority, right? That decides, for example, that like, Israel means a completely secular state, and we're gonna block the highways, go to the press, just completely bamboozle society, and that goes on. Well, I don't know about uppity leftists, extreme leftists. That goes on both sides, even extreme rightists, like right wing.
Extreme rightists aren't so bad, but
Yeah, they are. Ben Gavir, Smotrich, and both are doing.
we can disagree.
Yeah, so there's obviously problematic. So I mean, there needs to be some sort of.
Basically, anybody who voted either for Meretz or Shinui or Dati Leumi, all of them should be deported.
Well, anyone that voted for Meretz, I don't know who to be deported, but like, yeah, they need to have a talking to, which is like, if you don't like where the direction's going, then leave. Then leave the country. Then it's not for you.
Did you say that to Gilad?
I mean, I have a talk with Gilad maybe today about it. Obviously, it's very depressing, but I don't see him as one of the extremists, though, because Gilad is not opposed. Yeah, but he appreciates religion. He has his own concerns, which I understand. But like, that's not the enemy. That's not the problem.
I think anybody who voted Dati Leumi or for a secular party, all of them should be deported.
I mean, the issue with the Haredi population in Israel that I have is I see a lot of hypocrisy in that they claim to be these great defenders of Torah, but like one of the precepts of Torah is like self-reliance. Like there are statements throughout Talmud and throughout Hazal about the importance of man working for his needs and not depending on others.
Kirk, yes, what you're saying is right, but you understand all these rabbis have their own verses and emphasizing their own understanding of what they need to be doing.
I think the halacha is pretty clear.
Okay,
I mean,
you have no status whatsoever to discuss about what the halacha is.
Kirk, they joke around. People say like they burnt Maimonides' books because of his heresy in the Guide to the Perplexed. But the joke is that they burnt his books because of his opinion about the need to learn Torah, right? So they wanted to avoid his halachic, his legal corpus. So listen, these are part of the growing pains. Unfortunately, we live in a world today where we have to experience and see it on with 4K high definition all the time. So it's frustrating. But
I've seen some.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I have seen some videos of Mahon Shiloh where he was talking about spring verses.
Yeah, you shouldn't listen to Mahon Shiloh.
Jacob has some of his reservations with regard to that place.
Have you been looking at that channel over the past 2 months?
I've seen some of his stuff.
Over the last 2 months?
Yeah.
I can't tell you, like, I'm not subscribed to them, but I see their stuff, like, every now and then, but I can't tell you, like, I've seen a pattern or something. He's
been having very, very wild and crazy discussions with Jonathan Pollard.
According to Mordechai Eliyahu, it's a mitzvah to redeem him.
It's a mitzvah to redeem all Jews. The question is at what cost?
That has nothing to do with whether or not you should listen to him saying stupid things.
And Jonathan Pollard, I don't know. I'm saying, like, obviously, I'm happy that he's home. Like, in Israel, he's not like a thought leader. I don't care what Gilad Shalit has to say about things. Like the man was in jail for 30 years. I mean, I don't know. Like,
I think I mean, he's not a thought leader. David Bar-Haim is.
David Bar-Haim is stupid enough to have Pollard say stupid things on his stupid channel.
Stupid.
Jacob, calling Rabbi stupid.
Chazi, if you listen to any of the stuff they were saying, you might agree with me.
But he has a white beard and he speaks very softly. So,
I don't care.
but how can he be wrong if he has a white beard and speaks softly? No, you can't. By the way, Trey, you were just talking about Harry Potter. I was just thinking about that. So while my kids,
What do you-
well, first of all, they have a very strict screen time regimen, so they don't have tons of time, and they definitely don't play any games. But I let them listen to the things I listened to when growing up. So they have like these little, Jewish stories, the Golden Crown, different things like that. So they get to hear their Jewish stories. What are you showing me right now? A
Subway
game?
Surfers.
A Subway. You know what game it is, Kirk? Oh wow.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, this
I don't know.
Really popular, even though I don't ever play.
Isn't it just like that Running Man?
Just to keep you guys.
Basically try to avoid the trains killing you.
This is what life is now for teenagers. Just wake up and do your homework. Respect your parents. Pay your taxes. You don't have to play a make-believe game where a train's trying to kill you. I don't know if that's... sounds
you put this
sort of
on
intense.
It's for your ADHD. It's like so you have 5 things to focus on while you're trying to focus on one thing.
Does does anybody here have ADHD?
Both my
I
sons.
probably have autism, but I don't think I have ADHD.
Well, we're all on a certain spectrum. All right,
Jacob?
gentlemen, I have to go live real life. Take care. Be safe.
Take care.
I
Jacob?
think I'm gonna end the stream.
Well, before we end, if I can ask, what's your favorite
Hey,
non-kosher food?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, but I'm taking an exam for my insurance license.
Ooh.
If you guys want to talk, you guys can talk.
Well, what's your favorite non-kosher food?
Why would I have a favorite non-kosher food?
Because you don't keep kosher and non-kosher food's delicious?
Non-kosher food is delicious?
For me, it is.
Okay, well, I'm glad you like it. I'm going to let you and Trey speak. I'm going to go finish my exam. Have fun.
All right. We'll see you later.
Trey.
Yeah.
Have a good night,
You're going?
What are you trying to show us? Is this a little game you're playing?
It's just to keep you focused, okay? Just so we can have this conversation. Just to keep
So,
you focused.
Trey,
Yes.
have you had any success with girls recently?
I've gone on 6 dates. You know, when I was back in LA.
Well, let me ask you this. So, do you have a preference for like any personality? Like, do you like being the dominant one or the submissive one, or something? Or you don't have a preference either way, or like you have a specific personality type in a girl you like?
I like artsy girls.
Or artsy girls.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you like artsy girls?
I like art.
I mean, fair enough. So like do you like girls creative or?
Yeah, I like when they're creative and everything.
Do you like when they're like, but like, do you like to lead the relationship or have her lead the relationship or something in between, or don't really care about that?
I think this idea of leading isn't really. I don't know what you mean by that.
Like make the decisions in a relationship. Like choose where to get dates, where how much money to spend, when to have sex, stuff like that.
Oh well, okay, well, let's avoid another comment. I mean, I think in the U.S. it's the least expected that most guys have to.
I'm asking you, what do you prefer?
I'm just saying that, like, I don't think guys have a choice. You have to pay for the first date. You have to pay.
So you don't have a preference, is what you're saying?
I mean, it'd be less work for me if I had to like pick like less places to do. Like it is frustrating to always say like, hey, we gotta go here. Okay, you want to go here? You want to go here? You want to go here? Okay, let's go to this place.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, naggy. I don't like naggy woman, but I'm just kind of messing around because I don't have anything better to do.
Okay, we'll just end there. Good night, Kirk. I'll
Good
take
night.
this advice. We'll be ending the stream. All right,